Welcome back, everyone, to
Sports and Beyond Season 2, baby!
okay. We know we've been gone for quite a while, and by quite a while, I mean like 1 to 2 months. But we can
It's
explain,
been a
and
bit.
in fact, that's the first thing we're doing in this podcast is we're going to clear the room where we have been. So, Joe, you start. Where have you been? What have you been up to recently?
Well, last two months of high school, I'm pretty sure you guys knew, me and Bryce, we were graduating seniors, and we've just been. I swear there was something to do every week between like ditch day and like all these end of the year events that we just did, and we just honestly lost the time. Bryce and I have also been very busy with our jobs. Bryce recently he's been helping out with a lot of sports at our school, specifically basketball, and he's been a stat keeper for baseball, also an announcer. So he's been really busy with that. He also got a job at Academica, which is a local sport soccer club, and
Mm-hmm.
he's been announcing for them. So shout out Bryce for getting that bread. He also bought a
Yep, yep,
car.
yep, yep, yep,
So
yep.
shout out Bryce. I've also been busy with my work, and honestly, Bryce and I have just always every time I had a day I was free, Bryce was busy, or every time Bryce had a day he was free, I was busy. So we've just had conflicting schedules, and we were graduating seniors, and we just kind of got lost in the sauce, I guess you could say.
Yeah, and it's not like we like wanted to put this aside. We were committed to doing it. It was just at the time it just got very busy. But now we're out of high school. We have a lot of downtime. It's summertime, so we decided to come on and maybe record this new episode. Now, we you mentioned earlier that I just got a job at Academica doing PA, and that wasn't all by myself because there's someone I would like to thank that's actually our guest coming on. But to introduce them, I have a nice little introduction. The man with many names, the only Celtics fan in California, and known for his recent trade to Talchilla. The man, the myth, the legend, Coach Steiner.
What's up, guys? That's
What's going on? What's going on?
that's a hell of an intro. Yeah, the only Celtics fan in California is the title that I will proudly rock.
Yeah.
I
What
don't know if you
about you?
guys can. I don't know if you guys can see the hat, but we are still champions. I don't care what happens in the next couple of days. Currently, we are champions, and that's all that counts.
Where's your
Yeah.
24-25 hat?
It's in the mail. It'll be here tomorrow. I'm sure.
The kids in Africa are wearing it.
What team
Yeah,
logos
yeah,
on it?
yeah. No, I got to fight some kids in Zimbabwe for it, but we'll get there.
What team logos on the champion hat coming in?
Honestly, I had Thunder heading into the series, and I'm gonna stick with it. I'm sure we'll dive into it a little more in a minute, but yeah, I think the Thunder are gonna run away with it now.
Yeah. So like we just mentioned recently, um, you went to Chowchilla. How do you feel about going to Chowchilla, a new school district? What's your thoughts going into that?
Yeah, I not to sound like a guy who just got traded because I didn't. I'm sure whatever Hilmar got back was more than what I was ever worth there, but
Past
um,
considerations.
yeah, calling it a trade might have been a little bit ambitious, but yeah, no, I loved my time at Hilmar. I've been telling everybody, and I will wear it very proudly. I started subbing for 2 years. I taught there full time for 6 years, so I've been there for the last 8 years. A lot of people there became family. A lot of people there became brothers and sisters, and Mr. Willis is 150, so he's like a great grandfather to me. And so I don't leave there like excited to leave. As you guys know, I live in Chowchilla, and so that commute has kind of been just kicking my ass for the last couple of years. And so I got an opportunity to teach at a really good school, and so I'm looking forward to that. But I'm glad I left with a lot of great kids. I'm glad I left with a really cool senior class, including you guys. Congratulations on that graduation. I was there. I was shouting you guys out as you walked across the stage. Bryce, I never thought I'd see you walk across the stage, so that's kind of
Get
cool.
out of here. Get
But
out
yeah,
of
no,
here.
Hilmar, I got nothing but love for Hilmar. It was an awesome place, and it'll always hold a special place in my heart. But yeah, just like a Raphael Devers, you get traded from one school to another, and you got to come out ready. So I'm gonna do my best to continue my legacy somewhere else.
Okay. So I like the monologue. That was a great monologue, some might say.
Thank you.
um, Going on, we have a new segment that I would like to introduce. I've talked to Joe about it a little bit, and Mr. Steiner, or Coach Steiner, some people might call you, no by. Um, this is a new segment I've been talking. It's called Tough Takes. I'm going to be the middleman here. I might add my input here and there, but I have a couple questions a little bit controversial, some might say, some kind of just to pick your brain, kind of warm up to this, kind of get everyone's take and just get used to it. First question, I have a little bit of a soccer question. We don't talk enough about soccer on this
Oh
podcast.
boy.
Obviously, Joe.
Wait, no, Bryce, you talked about soccer one time when you mentioned Arsenal. Can you just like recap
Oh
what
yeah.
that was all about?
Yeah, so if some of you guys don't know, I lost a bet to the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Steiner. Basically saying that my team, Man City, would win, and although they didn't win, they still have a bright future ahead of them. They're gonna win the FIFA Club World Cup.
Bernardo Silva's the GOAT.
They're gonna win the treble this
Ruben
year.
Diaz and Bernardo Silva, my GOATs.
So I mean, although I did lose one bet, they are gonna come out on top, and they're gonna show Arsenal why they're not even that relevant. So,
Oh.
speaking of Arsenal, they get away with a lot. Every call goes their way. It's
Oh.
always one sided. So, I have a question about soccer, and I'm going to get you guys' takes here. Should VAR, video assistant referee, be scrapped or reformed? What do you guys think?
Okay, can I get a clarification?
Yes.
That's like the people that review the goals and like offsides and like the
Yes.
Okay, because I remember watching soccer when I was a little kid, and they didn't have that. Like that was quite a recent change, right? That wasn't like
Yeah,
that was like
relatively,
2013, somewhere around there. Because I remember watching a match. I don't remember which one, but some guy scored with his hand. I think it was some World Cup match. I think the video referees are something that are essential to stay.
Diego Maradona, the hand of God.
That too. That's a good example too.
He stuck his fist right by his head and he
and then
pretended to
headed
head
it,
it in and he like punched it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it's necessary because there are some things that could go under the belt right there, like we saw with Maradona. So I think they're necessary.
What about your take, Coach?
Yeah, I think in concept it makes a lot of sense. They still need to continue to tweak it a lot. Like right now, the number one complaint is that like, oh, like the guy's pinky finger was offsides, and so like that shouldn't affect him. And then there's some people that it's like, well, it just started at the shoulder because you run with your hands, and if your hand's in front, you can't even use it anyway. And so they really have to like fine tune what exactly is and isn't offsides and like what exactly they are and aren't allowed to review, because there are other calls that are like, well, they need to go to VAR and like, oh, that's not covered with VAR. And so like they really have to figure out a way to clarify everything. There have been a lot of like soccer pundits that like try to give their takes. Here's how we can improve it. Here's how we can improve it. Everything can always be improved, in my opinion. And so I think VAR kind of falls under that same umbrella. There are arguments that like it should be like hockey, where like the last part of your body, as long as it's onsides, the rest of your body can be offsides, and that would make it more clear. But there are counter arguments to that. There, like I said earlier, fingers versus shoulders versus elbows versus whatever. So like, I think in concept it works, and I think it was shout out Portuguese Jose Mourinho who said the only people who complain about VAR are the ones that are trying to cheat. And I strongly agree with that. The only people that don't want instant replay are the ones that know they got away with something. And so, the concept of VAR makes a lot of sense to me. But again, I just think it needs a little bit of tweaking.
Yeah, I agree. I think VAR is very good in hindsight because it does allow the play to be fair to both teams. But there are some, like you said, offsides is a big problem. One thing I do have a problem with is that the VAR process isn't quick when it comes to offsides, where they won't call an offsides when it's clear and obvious because they haven't determined by technology that it's offsides, ruining the game and people can get hurt. More of like a real life example, not really professional, but there was an offsides play in CSU Stanislaus game where the goalkeeper made a play on the ball and they tore their ACL, but it was an obvious offsides play. And because it wasn't stopped, their ACL was tore and it ruined their season. So I think if referees, especially line referees who are following up with the last offender, they should be able to tell if the attacker has a head start. And I think that they should be making the calls. They shouldn't wait for VAR to stop the play. If it's offsides and it's clear and obvious, then it plays on.
I think the clear and obvious part of your argument is the point that needs to be really hammered home, because the thought process behind that is if they raise the flag for offsides and the play dies, and then upon review they were like, oh shoot, that guy actually was onside, then they prevent the goal scoring opportunity. And so when it's tight, I'm okay with them letting it play through and then letting the goal score or whatever, it goes out of bounds and then it's irrelevant. But like if a goal scores and then they take the second and they're like, well, hold on, actually, let's check. Like there are similar plays in football, right? You don't stop the play for holding. You let them take the advantage, and then if it comes back, then it comes back, right? So if you call a play early and the goal is scored and they're like, well, what the hell? I scored a goal, but you called it off, then that makes soccer look bad. But again, you got to tighten that window. If the guy's 6, 7, 8 yards off sides, there's no reason the ref can't raise the flag with a little bit of confidence.
Yeah, and also another problem that I have is second yellow cards. It doesn't go to VAR, even if it is technically considered a red card.
Yeah, I
There's
agree with
been
that.
plenty of different opportunities where the player's gone a second yellow card and you go and look back and that's not a yellow card offense. But because it's a yellow card, it's non-replayable. I think VAR should be allowed to go check a yellow card to keep the referee in check to make sure that he's making the calls correct. Because that red card changes the flow of the game and it changes
100%.
the momentum completely.
Yeah, straight red goes to VAR, second yellow should too.
Yes. Okay, moving away from soccer. Joe's been a little bit quiet, not
I know.
a lot of
Sorry,
input.
Joe. I cut you off. I'm sure you had a lot to say there.
World Cup soccer, that's my game. You talk about national soccer, I'll talk days and days on that. But club soccer.
Speaking of national soccer, you know, there is a new champion in the building. Portugal won. How do you feel about that?
My glorious King Ronaldo. My glorious King Cristiano Ronaldo pulled through, scored a goal. He wasn't the hero of that game. I give full credits. Bryce may agree or disagree to Nuno Mendes. He scored a goal in that game. He made his penalty kick. He was an amazing defender on the pitch. He's just a great young player. He's only 23 years old and will continue to be an impact player for Portugal. And I just saw that potential shine through in the final against Spain.
Yeah. He was also a very big part in the PSG treble that they just accomplished, which is very achieving. And speaking as a City fan, the treble is not easy to accomplish. I had to put that in there. Steiner, when was the last time Arsenal won the treble?
I'm sorry, Bryce. You cut out. I couldn't hear you.
Okay. Yeah. Moving away from soccer.
Hey, Bryce, when's the last time your team won the league undefeated?
Okay. You got me there. Okay. Well, we'll move on. We could do this all day. Here's a question about basketball. You guys are both basketball fans, and people have different opinions. Has the three-point revolution made the NBA less exciting?
This is a tough question because it could go either way because it depends. Like, I'm the type of guy when I watch basketball, I'm not the type of guy that always looks for scoring. I find defensive possessions very entertaining. One example of this is the 2016 finals against the Cavs and the Warriors when the score stayed at 89-89 for around like 2 minutes. It was very exciting seeing both teams throw out and play their best defense they possibly could. So I think watching the defensive part of the game is really, really exciting. It really just depends on your preference of watching basketball. But personally, I'm the type of person that's like seeing defense, the blocks, the crazy rebounds, or like, the fundamental stuff rather than just insane scoring bar by bar, brick by brick. So in my opinion, it makes basketball slightly less entertaining because it eliminates like true defense, because we haven't really seen a championship winning team in the last 5 years that could really play defense and put the clamps on.
Yeah.
Joe, you just played right to my basketball true heart right there, because I agree with you wholehearted. I think it depends on how you define exciting, right? If exciting to you is more points, then yeah, it's been super beneficial. I think the argument for exciting, just to kind of take the other side from you, the argument for exciting is that back in my day, it used to be like once you were up like 16, 17, 18, like it was game over, right? You park the bus, you screw around, right? Now, all of a sudden, we see 20-point leads evaporate in a single quarter, let alone in a half, let alone in a game, right? And so, like, in terms of excitement, I think any team is still in the game for longer throughout the game. And so, like, I think that's the real argument for the value of the three-point line. I think the other part of it is just the fact that, like, guys are getting better, right? Like, Victor Wembanyama is 7'4", whatever, and he's like one of the better three-point shooters in the league, right? And so like the game is just kind of adjusting. Like when I was coming up in basketball, like if you chucked more than 3 or 4 threes in a row or in a game and you weren't wide ass open, you went to the bench, right? But now we got 8-year-old, 9-year-old, 10-year-old leagues where guys are like stepping back, pulling, right? They're shooting threes in transition, right? So the game is just kind of evolving. Why would I take a 2-pointer when I can score 3 points instead? right?
Yeah,
And so
exactly.
there's a whole bunch of analytics, but like, again, it depends on how you define exciting. Because in my opinion, I agree. I love basketball. They throw it down to the post. The guys move around and make cuts. You hit the back door, right? Like a Nikola Jokic guy, like guys cutting,
Yeah.
right? I don't need my center pulling up for 4 threes a game. I don't need every single person just chucking.
Yeah.
And I say that as a Celtics fan. I know we just broke a bunch of records for 3-pointer shot in the season and all that stuff. So don't hammer me on that, right? But just as far as like a basketball fundamental purist, I don't know. I'm not a huge fan.
So
No,
my
yeah.
take,
Something I would like. Ooh. Now you got that. You got that.
so my take, honestly, is I appreciate the fundamentals of basketball. I enjoy watching teams run the pick and roll, making passes, driving to the lane, kind of finding that rhythm in the 2-point game. Because at the end of the day, seeing players just shoot contested threes consistently kind of gets boring after a while. And I mean, obviously, your Coach Steiner is a basketball coach, so he's been on the sideline. I've also been on the sideline alongside Coach Kano. Shout out Coach Kano. Although he did rob me in that 1v1, but we're not going to get into that now. But I enjoyed watching playing fundamental basketball. When they run plays, it was way better than them just dribbling up to the 3-point line, taking a contested shot, and then running back to defense. I think running through the plays, running through the game, finding open lanes, being able to find the open player rather than taking a contested three is better. And I think the flow of the game is much smoother once you run the foundations of the basketball, running screens, off ball screens, on ball screens, stuff like that. Some people might call me a play designer. I drew up a couple plays for basketball. They were never
Right.
used. They were
Okay,
never
big
used. But I do want to say they were creative, and I
Bryce,
appreciate them.
do you think screens would have helped you in your attempt to defeat Coach Kano?
I think technical fouls and fast break fouls should have been taken into place because if you guys don't, I'm going to get into this, right?
There's no such thing as fast break in one-on-one basketball.
Yeah, it was a fast break foul. It was loose ball. I grabbed the ball. I had an open lane to the rim, and Coach Kano dove for the ball, missed it, grabbed my ankle, and prevented me from driving to the rim. That's a transition take foul. I'm sorry. I get 1 free throw, and I retain ball. And I retained the ball. So I'm just saying, by rules, I technically should have got the ball. And technical foul. He was getting in my face. He was talking crazy shit, and he was cheating.
And
And
you were silent the whole time, I assume.
I was actually locked in. I was
Oh, yeah.
sweating. I was
Bryce Todd
playing
was
good
silent the
defense.
whole time.
Obviously. Yeah,
I
no.
stayed on his hip. Honestly, I stuck with him. Despite the scoreline, 21-0, I stuck with him.
All right. Well, moving
Okay.
away from that, just something I wanted to add before we get off of this tough take part. I 100% agree with Bryce. I like the fundamentals of basketball. I think it's more entertaining seeing like a perfectly executed play rather than the modern NBA where you just pass it to someone, they shoot it, they throw up a three, boom, it's in. Mr. Steiner also brought up a really good point. Big men are starting to get a lot more involved in the 3-point game. It's really taken away from how a traditional big man's how they play, because almost every center in the NBA can consistently shoot the three. There was one period of time, like a very short period of time for like a week, where Domantas Sabonis was leading the league in 3-point percentage. So big men just have been taking over in 3-point shooting range. And I honestly don't like that, because I think the shooting should be handled by the little guys, and the big guys should just keep playing their fundamental basketball.
Yeah. And to quote, I talked to Mr. Steiner about this on text. To quote him, he said, NBA is positionless now. Like anyone could be dominant on the ball. Anyone could dribble. Like, for example, the whole time LeBron is not a guard, but he's always carrying up the ball up the court.
Oh, yeah.
Like that's a guard job, not a forward job or a wing job. So it just shows that the game is evolving and it's turning into no positions. Like anyone can play the center. You have guys playing who are 6'8", like Bam Adebayo, playing the center and power forward position.
Bryce,
Or when the Rockets
Bryce, what role do you think you would play on a basketball team?
Ooh, 6 man off the bench. Actually, no, 7th or 8th in the rotation.
Hold on, Bryce. Hold on a second. I gotta just check something.
Oh, okay.
Oh shoot.
Oh, there he is.
Wait, Bryce.
No.
There's no way.
Coach, what's going on? You want to tell the fans what you did?
Right now?
We were just discussing how your take fouls and technical fouls in the game prevented Bryce from winning.
Oh, it's just called basketball. It's called IQ.
Oh.
It's a transition take foul. Everyone knows that's a transition take foul. I get one free throw and I retain ball possession.
I said, hey, shoot the free throw, and you didn't want to shoot the free throw. You could have won.
I wanted. No, okay. Here, you gave me the free throw option, but what did I tell you? I told you I wanted to win like a man.
Oh, and then you got. Then I what? How many more points did I score? 16 after that.
No, it was 6-1 the score line. By the way, I won.
So 15 more points after that.
I definitely think I won, but it's okay.
I was talking to Steiner about golf, but I guess we'll talk about this. What is this? Makeshift Zoom? What is this?
Yeah, this is our podcast. You just made an appearance.
You're live. You're live to tape, Coach Kano.
I'm the second.
The whole world's watching me right now.
Yeah, I'm the first one. Yeah.
What are you guys talking about?
So we just had a discussion about whether the new 3-point revolution is good or bad for basketball.
Oh,
go ahead. Go ahead.
I think it's good. Spaces at the floor. It's a skill. It's harder than dunking the ball. I would say that.
Oh boy.
Generationally, though, for kids, I think it's a bad look for them. They don't understand it.
We were talking about that too. 9-year-olds are pulling up for 3 in transition instead of just focusing on the layups.
I mean, I just played Central Valley, and they're just freaking shooting 63s in a 40-point running clock game. So that's not a good look.
Yeah. Not all of us can shoot like you, Coach.
He can't shoot. He can't shoot.
Coach Kano, with this new 3-point revolution, what do you think you would have averaged in high school?
I mean, it was kind of – Curry was – still up and coming, but man, if I was getting more shots like that, I mean, Paul Willis never liked those, so I would at least a couple more open shots like that. That would have been nice.
Yeah, good. What position in positionless basketball? What do you think Bryce's role would be on modern day? Since you played him one-on-one, you probably know better than anybody.
Modern day positionless basketball, I could see Bryce being a good 4. Okay. You know what? I could see him being like Steven Adams, maybe 5.
Ooh.
He just
rebounds
and set screens.
For Bryce,
Steven Adams just got a 3-year contract. That's a good comparison.
Yeah, 20-something million, Bryce. He's the strongest dude in the NBA, and he's got a fat contract.
Time out.
He's still like 29.
Time out. I want a full. Give me a full. I want a full. Okay. Let me explain this, right? I'm not a screen setter and a rebound getter. I'm a ball dominant guard.
All right.
Wait, Bryce, you never sent me a picture confirming that you've been wearing a Lakers shirt.
Because I haven't got the shirt. You said you were going to supply the shirt.
Oh, Bryce, that was the bet.
Oh, was that part of the bet?
I'll go to Target tomorrow. I'm going to go to Target.
And I had to buy you a shirt.
Disgraceful.
I'll go to Target tomorrow. I'll buy the Lakers shirt. I'll post it on the Sports and Beyond Instagram.
That needs to be.
I would love you to buy a LeBron, like something LeBron.
Oh
no.
That needs
LeBron is the GOAT. I'm not going to get into this.
That's a hot take.
That is not a hot take.
That's a hot take.
Now I think about it.
Says a horrible take.
That's a horrible take. Bryce,
you
in a LeBron jersey needs to be like the thumbnail picture for the episode.
Yes.
You know what? Okay, I'm still on my full timeout, by the way.
Sorry, you're right. That was rude of us.
So,
although you only get 60 seconds, so wrap it up.
Yeah, they're only long.
Okay, after this, right? I'm gonna get an Indiana Pacers jersey with the number 12, and it's gonna have Bradley on the back. So that's my next jersey buy.
Who?
Bryce, Avery Bradley.
Avery Bradley?
Paul Bradley.
I was about to say Avery Bradley wore 0, I think.
Avery Bradley is also the GOAT.
I think he's 13.
Paul Bradley is Bryce's alter ego who plays basketball.
Oh, I was gonna say the Pacers have a Bradley on
their
team.
Yeah.
Not number 12 though.
Tony Bradley, isn't it? Tony Bradley?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Tony Bradley, I think.
Sure.
Yeah. All right, Coach. Well, thank you for convenient calling at the exact right time. I appreciate you.
All right, thanks for having me on.
Perfect timing.
Bye, Coach.
Perfect
next time too.
All right, later, man.
We'll get Kano on the pod.
Sorry, that was so weird. He just so happened to call.
No, that was perfect.
I feel like you called him in a way.
What, Bryce? No,
we were just talking about him. It's kind of convenient, don't you think?
That's what I'm saying.
How did you ever think that?
The basketball gods just happened to intervene.
Like I was saying, transition take foul. And by the way, hold on. going back to this because I'm still mad. I never got the
Clearly.
ball back. And by the way,
All
the
right,
bet
next
was
topic,
supposed to
next
be
topic.
I start with ball. He made me shoot for the ball. So okay, whatever. We need a podcast just talking about this shit because that pissed me off. Okay, moving. This is the end of tough takes. I've had enough tough takes, and
All right, it's been too tough for Bryce. We'll move on.
I'm having a tough time having fun. We're gonna talk about this MLB trade. There's a new trade in town. Joe, you want to explain it?
Oh, I would love to explain it.
Stop smiling so much.
So for the first time in like 6 years, the San Francisco Giants have made me extremely happy and traded for Rafael Devers. I don't know how to pronounce his name. I think Rafael Devers. Anyway, I'm really excited about this because he can definitely hit the ball. We've struggled with that this year for sure. Struggled with some consistent hitters, and this is just absolutely perfect. Devers will be perfect for slugging on this San Francisco Giants team. I didn't think the haul was too bad either. I'm pretty sure. I think we robbed the Sox. If I'm being 100% honest,
yeah.
And great trade for the Giants, and I'm really excited to see Devers continue to hopefully shine in San Francisco.
Yeah, in a vacuum, you guys robbed us. He's a sensational left-handed hitter. He's gonna splash shots or whatever you stupid arena calls it. You guys, he's gonna be hitting moonshots into the river, whatever. The part you're not taking into consideration is the contract. I want to shout out the Red Sox because I hate the Red Sox right now. I hate the ownership. They need to sell the team. They're absolute terrorists. But the one thing that I will agree with John Henry on is apparently after the fact, their PR team has been moving, right? Oh, you didn't know this. You didn't know that. He's a clubhouse cancer. He's this. He's that, right? So there's all these reports coming out. I'm sure most of them are from them to just cover their own asses. However, the one thing I will say, John Henry said that they got a couple of other calls about him, but the other teams were not willing to absorb his entire contract. He had a 10-year, $313-ish million contract that he's only a year and a half into. Right. And he's now 27, 28 years old. So strictly from the financial thing, right? If a team is willing to absorb that entire contract and include some even B, C level prospects, like theoretically that's a win. However, I do want to say I hate the trade. It is on the heels of us letting Mookie Betts go for a bag of baseballs. It's on the heels of the Red Sox having the most expensive beers in baseball, but still not being able to make a 500 team despite being the fourth biggest team in the league, right? So, like, there's all this stuff, this negative crap on Boston right now. And for them to be like, oh, yeah, well, hold my beer because here comes another one was really just like a kick in the stomach, right? It was very painful as somebody who, respects baseball, loves baseball, the history of baseball. But just this current ownership group is just a freaking joke. So, again, having 8.5 years and whatever, 280 some odd million left on a guy who refused to play first base and a guy who had attitude, like that looks good from our side. From a strictly baseball perspective, you guys got to be through the freaking roof because he's a lefty who can mash. He's going to absolutely terrorize that right field wall. And so I don't know. I got nothing but respect for the Giants fans right now. I think they made a good deal.
Yeah. And something I'd like to
go ahead, Joe.
Something I'd like to highlight is I actually saw this today. Devers actually said he'd be willing to play first baseman for the Giants. So I thought that was kind of funny and kind of like a big like FU to the Red
100%,
Sox.
100%, because that was the rumor. He's been the worst defensive third baseman in baseball. Every year he's been the full-time starter, literally. And all of a sudden he has the audacity to be like, how dare you guys move me from my position? Like what? Like you were doing anything there. So that was what sparked this whole thing. I guess in preseason when Tristan Casas went down at first, they were like, would you want to play another position? Would you rather DH? Like all this stuff. And he's like, whoa, I'm better than that. He's not statistically. And so the fact that he got to San Francisco and immediately was like, hey, I'll play first base was absolutely a middle finger to Boston.
Yeah, and it's important to note, obviously, your guys' first baseman is hurt, and you guys did not get a first baseman in that trade. You guys have no first baseman, really.
Oh, we have no hope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the Kyle Harrison, what's it called? The Red Sox, they're actually assigning him to AAA right now for
didn't even walk into Fenway Park, just send him right down.
That's insane.
I thought that was
That's
interesting.
actually crazy. Second. Sorry, guys. I'm pulling up ESPN right now, kind of seeing where Boston sits because they have been
It's not
struggling.
pretty.
I mean, they are above 500. They're 2 games above
38 and
500, which
36.
is
Dude, and
They're
that's
losing 0-8 right now.
I was just gonna say that's the part that really pissed Boston off. Like, obviously trading a generational talent is always gonna go over like a fart in church. But like the bigger problem is we just swept the freaking Yankees. All of a sudden we got momentum. Right? We've been dog shit for most of the season. All of a sudden we put 4 straight on our rivals. They're one of the best teams in baseball. They went to the World Series. We beat 4, and all of a sudden it's like, holy shit, we got projections, right? We've got momentum. Hold your horses though, because we're going to trade our generational third baseman. So that's the part that really rubbed Boston fans the wrong way.
It's also important that Rafael Devers leads the team in batting average, home runs, RBIs, and OBP. So
he's
just
like in a vacuum, like he's a borderline Hall of Famer. Like I was reading some stats, and I don't know how accurate they are, but he was like projected to be like up there with the all-time great Boston Red Sox had he stayed, right? Mm-hmm. Statistically. If he's a clubhouse cancer, if he's a pain in the like whatever, then there's other factors that obviously contribute. But yeah, statistically, he's a fantastic baseball player. I'm not going to miss him. I hate the Red Sox for letting him go for a bag of big league chew. But it is what it is.
Big league chew is fire though.
It's true. Depends on the flavor. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's also important. He's leading all of those with only 272 ABs. So, I mean,
and he started the year striking out like 15 of his first 18 at bats or something like that. So the fact that he's doing what he's doing now is extremely impressive. But even David Ortiz is coming out being like, he was not listening to my advice. He was not listening to anybody. He thought he knew more than everybody. So again, clubhouse cancers, I'm always 100 out of 100. Get him out of the room. I just hate that we couldn't have gotten something a little bit better from a generational homegrown talent.
Maybe he wasn't a clubhouse cancer. Maybe he just genuinely didn't want to be with you guys. I feel like that's part of it because for him to like you guys said, for him to just like switch up that quick is kind of insane.
Yeah. No, there weren't any reported issues last year. So it clearly just came in the offseason when they asked him to switch from third base to DH. And to be fair, we brought in a gold glove third baseman. Like, bro, you've led the league in errors at third base every year. Why would you continue playing third base over this guy who's literally the best third baseman in baseball? So I don't know. He's kind of an asshat. I won't miss him, but I do hate the fact that we didn't get more from him.
Yeah. Okay. Now let's get to the part that we have been talking about that we prepared the most. I feel like the NBA playoffs is coming to an end, unfortunately, and we did not nick it on the butt when it started because we were busy. But now that we know what happened, we could go by game and kind of figure out what we think. So let's get that started. Obviously, right now we're in the finals.
We just start series by series, and then we work our way to where we're.
Let's just skip the Eastern Conference. We don't have to talk about that.
No. We're gonna go to the Eastern Conference first. Let's go to the West because there's a lot to talk about in the Eastern Conference. More specifically, the Celtics,
the Boston Celtics. The Knicks. Anyway, so I'd like to start us off. So just moving on to the first series, we had the first seeded Thunder versus the Grizzlies. We all saw this coming. Thunder winning a 4-0 sweep. I'm pretty sure John Morant, he was out, right? He got injured and
he was on and off. He
missed some time.
He was on and off. But either way, I don't think it would have mattered. I think maybe they would have won in one more game, but I don't think so. We all saw this coming. Done. 4-0 sweep. Yeah. And then the next series
to add to that, the Grizzlies just got rid of Desmond Bane, so there is a little bit of a gap in that offense and defense.
They're in rebuild mode now.
Yeah.
If y'all don't mind, let's talk a little bit about that trade. I don't know. I feel like it was a bit of an overpay for the Magic overpaid a bit because they didn't get any like impact player. I mean, they got Desmond Bane, but they didn't give up a generational player, but they gave up 4 first-round picks, which was pretty massive. I think that's a pretty heavy load. KCP, he's always been a good bench player, but he's getting old. He's probably going to fall out of relevancy pretty soon.
He had his worst statistical year this year, I guess. So it makes sense. You sell low.
No, in 2023 in the playoff run, he was cooking, but now he's not the same player. He gotten old. But I think that was a bit of an overpay on the Magic's part. 4 first-round picks and a couple of role players. Desmond Bane's a great player, but I just don't think he's worth that haul.
No, I agree. They've been trying to hype him up, right? They sometimes sports do this. When a big guy moves or when a guy moves, you're like, well, look how freaking good he is. Here's one specific on Tuesdays in games that start at 4:30 p.m. He's the single greatest scorer in the history of the world, right? He shot over 40, he shoots over 40%. His like number of threes versus his percentage is like very high, right? So like I'll give you that.
Yeah.
But and like if he's going to a team that's a guy away, sure. But like no disrespect to the Magic, but like they're not a guy away. Paolo Banchero is fantastic, right? But you're building around him. Desmond Bane and Paolo Banchero doesn't bring you to the Eastern Conference Finals, even with an injured Jason Tatum, right? So like 4 first-round picks, you're mortgaging your future to get this guy in. And again, if you're a guy away, that makes sense, right? Who needs draft picks when you're competing for championships? But they're not going to be competing for championships. And then not only that, bigger picture, 4 first-round picks, that sets the bar for any other offseason moves. And so now there's like, oh, is Durant gonna move? Are they gonna try to move Ja? Are they gonna try to move Jaren Jackson Jr. because they're in rebuild mode, right? It's gonna cost 45 first-round picks. Like, what are we doing here now, right? So they've kind of saturated the market with this move. The fact that it was the first one of the offseason, it kind of screws everybody else over.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think the Magic really, like you said, they're not one man away. So going and giving everything that they got for this one guy who's kind of towards the cusp of the end of his career is kind of insane.
No, yeah, I agree with you.
Good. I'm glad we talked playoff basketball in the East. Let's jump to the West now.
All right. We haven't even started. Moving on to this next series, we got the Nuggets and the Clippers. Denver wins in Game 7. For me, this was honestly a heartbreaking series because Bryce knows this, but I'm a big Kawhi Leonard fan and Glazer, and I will 100% claim that. That is one of my biggest things. And although, load management, Kawhi Leonard is the load management god. It just sucks to see him losing 7 games. I think he's a very good player, but also got to give respect where respect is due. Nikola Jokic, generational talent. I mean, he is the heart and soul of that Nuggets team. He is the rock that pulls all these teams together, or pulls the whole team together. To be fair, they do have Jamal Murray, Michael Porter Jr., Aaron Gordon, but Nikola Jokic is the star of the show and what keeps that team moving. And his consistent elite level of play is what pushed him past the Nuggets and won our Clippers and won the series.
Yeah, for my money, Jokic is the MVP. SGA is a very good player, but if you're talking the literal definition of value, I don't think there's anybody in the NBA who's more valuable than Jokic. If you take him out, they're like a 7 seed, right? Exactly. Like MPJ is good, Aaron Gordon's good, Jamal Murray when he's healthy is pretty good, but like they're not competing for anything substantial, right? You add Nikola Jokic, all of a sudden those guys go up. He is the single best player in the NBA at getting the most out of his teammates, right? And so the fact that they won that one made sense. Shout out Kawhi Leonard. If he played 82 games, he'd be in the MVP conversation every single year. For my money, he's probably the best two-way player in basketball when healthy and when playing. And so I nothing but love for Kawhi. I also love that he's just kind of a robot. He shows no emotion ever. It's just kind of a nice slap in the face to all like the diva players these days. But yeah, anyway, I agree. I think the Nuggets run. Jokic is the best player in basketball.
You think Jokic is the best player in basketball? Interesting.
Yes,
I do, Bryce.
You know what? So the MVP, right? What do you guys think about that? Because it's very controversial right now.
I think there should be 2 major awards. There should be the most valuable player and there should be the most outstanding player, right? Because again, what the definition of value, what does value mean to you? Is it the guy that scores the most points? Is it the guy that helps the team win the most games, right? There's always that argument in other sports, like specifically like football, right? The quarterback on the team with the most wins usually wins MVP, right? Because that's the most valuable. But I don't think it should be that cut and dry. I think there should be 2. Most valuable would have been Nikola Jokic, right? Without him, his team is not as successful. Without him, his other guys are not as good. There should also be a most outstanding player, the player that puts up the most impressive statistical year, right? Russell Westbrook averaged a triple-double for 2 years. His team sucked, but he was a dog, right? And if you want to go farther back, there were years where Kevin Love in Minnesota was averaging like 26 and 15 and 7, right? But their teams only occasionally made the playoffs. That's outstanding, but that's not valuable because they didn't get much for the return, right? And I think that would just help clarify what exactly it is, right? Is it value or is it just outstanding production? SGA's outstanding production, right? And I'm not saying he's not valuable. That's not a knock to his value, but like his outstanding statistical production, right? Led the league in points, led the league in free throws, if I'm not mistaken. I didn't look that up, right? But like he was a guy. But like I think Jokic, without Jokic, his team struggles more than SGA getting taken out of OKC.
Yeah, I agree. I think Jokic was just by far the better player. And you also have to remember Jokic was the best team on his respective he's the best player on the respective team. SGA is like, I mean, there's such a superstar oriented team. There's so many role players in OKC Thunder that if
but he's
SGA
the best
wasn't
one.
there, I think they would still be successful, honestly.
Yeah, but not as successful. I don't think they'd be in the finals right now. They'd probably be probably like a first round exit team, in my opinion, because SGA is extremely valuable to the team.
But I also want to say this. I want to say this. SGA is such a force superstar. He gets so many calls in his favor. He gets so many like bailout foul, like something like okay. I understand there was a jump ball in last game. There was a jump ball between I'm trying to think of his name. I can't think of his name right now. He's a role player. He came off the bench when Tyrese Halliburton was hurt.
TJ McConnell?
Yeah, McConnell. It was a jump ball between SGA and McConnell, and they called a loose ball foul and gave SGA free throws when it's a jump ball. He just was short. He couldn't get the ball in the air.
Saw that. And first time in NBA history, I believe, that they've awarded free throws off of a jump ball.
Yeah, it was like insane. And like SGA, like when he shoots, he kicks his foot out. They changed the rule that like if you kick your foot out, it's not a foul, but he gets the calls every time.
Shout out Draymond Green.
God, I hate Draymond. I hate the Warriors.
Or
if any Warriors fans watching, not sorry.
I think it was game 3. It was game 3. SGA was driving to the rim and full on offensive foul, like extended the elbow, pushed off, lost his balance, and took 2 extra steps after that. Not called a foul, nor was it called an off or called a travel. So it just shows that the NBA like babies them in a way. And like there were so many fouls that haven't been called in OKC's way. OKC, like they lead the league in defensive stats. And don't get me wrong, they are a very good physical defensive team, but it's too far. They're way too physical, especially in the sport of basketball where they call contact fouls all the time. They ignore it when OKC does it. Some people might say OKC's defense in the finals this year is dirtier than all of Draymond Green's fouls this year. They play dirtier than honestly.
You might say that.
No.
Yeah, that's a little too far for my liking.
Draymond Green plays dirty, but the way that they've
been
playing
end of sentence.
But the way
Draymond Green
playing
plays dirty. Draymond Green is a bitch. Period.
Draymond plays dirty. Period. Full stop. End of sentence.
Okay. Yep. Or here, it was Lou Dort on a free throw. He hit Tyrese Halliburton in the head, and it's not even called a foul. There's no reason why he needs to hit people. Or Alex Caruso, he grabs the waist and tugs them to go for a steal, and then they don't call a reach-in or anything.
Bryce, Draymond Green is the reason several NBA players can't have kids. Read between the lines. Like, Draymond Green is the dirtiest NBA player since Bill Laimbeer and the Pistons in the 80s. Like, it's not even a conversation.
That's real.
Okay, whatever.
I'll never forget when he stomped on Sabonis in the first round in the 2023 playoffs. I
was going to say, you got to be more specific. It's probably happened multiple times. So, yeah.
He donkey stomped him. That was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I've always hated him. Anyway, moving on. We keep running into roadblocks here, but the next series we had the Timberwolves and Lakers. I thought this was the most shocking series of the first round because everybody expected the Lakers to put up a fight. People had them going to the Western Conference Finals. People had them at least advancing past the Timberwolves because of the whole Luka trade. But I think part of the reason why they lost the series in 5 games was because of absolutely abysmal coaching job by JJ Redick. There was one game where he played his entire starting 5 for an entire half, which I think is just horrible. But also another thing to note is it's just the lack of talent on the Lakers bench. Sure, they have a nice looking starting 5. When you have Luka Doncic and LeBron James in your starting 5, that's pretty good. But the rest of their bench wasn't very good, and they were extremely underutilized. And JJ Redick tried to play his stars the whole game, but that did not work very well in his favor.
Yeah, again, I'm a Boston fan, so obviously I've never been respectful to the Lakers, but this will be the one time where I do kind of sympathize with them, because I don't understand why they were getting all the love that they were getting. Like, on paper, they were never really a threat. Luka Doncic is outstanding in basketball, right? He's 20 pounds away from being the best player in basketball, right? LeBron James is like 39 years old. Outside of that, like, what are we talking about? Austin Reeves? Like, come on. Like, what are we doing? If Joe Schmo averaged LeBron's numbers this year, and they weren't the Lakers, they were the Atlanta Hawks, all of a sudden they're like, oh yeah, they'll lose in the first round, they'll lose in the second round, because they're the Lakers, and because they have LeBron on their team. All of a sudden it's like, well, yeah, they're a threat, and if they don't win, that they've under achieved, right? And I don't think that was fair. New coach, old ass star, new star that's 20 pounds overweight, and Austin Reeves. That's not a championship team. Like, what are we talking about? So, like, the fact that
Dalton Connect. Hey, don't forget Dalton Connect.
And that's the bigger problem, is they don't even play Dalton Connect much. Just like Joe said, they barely played their bench guys, right? Yeah. So, like, I never understood why the Lakers were really in the conversation for a real hunt. Like, if they made it out of the first round, to me, that was a relatively successful season.
I think it was just recency bias, because obviously Luka Doncic led his team to the finals the year before. So they think, oh, Luka Doncic has a little bit more star power around him. They play a little bit more ball dominant. They thought that they were going to go on a run. But like you said, Luka Doncic is overweight, and he's in a new system. So it was just very hard, and I just don't think the Lakers deserve hype. And I think a lot of it was there was a trend with the Laker in 5. So people were just like hopping on the bandwagon, giving them hype for something that shouldn't be relevant. Yeah. But I do think the Timberwolves played good basketball, and the Timberwolves are like one player away from being a great team. I think they need.
And that one player was Karl Anthony Towns, which was a stupid decision on the Timberwolves' part, in my opinion. They should have never traded Cat.
Plays for the Knicks now. That's interesting.
Yeah, that was a dumb trade.
But we'll get to the Knicks. We're saving that.
We'll get to the Knicks. This next series broke my heart. Rockets and Warriors. Rockets losing 7. And I mentioned this before. I am probably the biggest Golden State Warriors hater you'll ever meet. Me and Bryce hate the Warriors. And I really hated to see them win or losing 7, because Bryce and I was telling everyone in school, because our entire school is like Warriors fans. We're saying Rockets in 7, Rockets in 7. Warriors go up 3-1. We're like, oh, shoot, we kind of look dumb right now. The Rockets come back, make it a 3-3 game. Me and Bryce are like, hey, we told y'all. Hey, don't sleep on us. Don't sleep on our ball knowledge. Well, they were right to sleep on our ball knowledge, because they lost. I was really hoping that
they kept sleeping. They slept in.
They kept sleeping. They slept good. But the Warriors, man, they just it's the Steph Curry magic. And then Buddy Hield will never do this for the Sacramento Kings. When he was on the Kings, he'd have one good game and then drop like 3 every other game.
I could tell you why, because he dribbled the ball. He tried to dribble the ball.
He dribbled the ball.
I hate when basketball players do that.
I think he's like 80% on the catch and shoot.
85%.
When he dribbles the ball, he goes down to 20%. That's insane.
11%. 11%. And then Buddy Hield in game 5, drops like 27 points. I was like, where was this when you were on the Kings?
And some insane shots, too. And he kept them in that.
Yeah,
series.
Exactly. In his mouth, deep threes, didn't matter. He kept shooting, man. Buddy Hield will be the best player in the NBA for 5 minutes at a time.
For sure.
That's the Buddy Hield theory. Then he'll suck.
For sure.
He's the best player in the NBA for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
I had high hopes for the Rockets. I really wanted the Rockets to do good. It was just very lackluster. They weren't able to close out, weren't able to get rebounds. They struggled against this Warriors team who were old, and their bench isn't the greatest. They have Quinton Post coming off the bench, and Gary
Shout out
Payton.
BC legend Quentin Post.
And
I do like Quint Post.
and then they had Gary Payton, and I can't even like Pod. What his last name? I can't think of it.
Podziemski.
Yeah,
Podzemski.
that's a tough name for me. But like their
And
bench,
the cum bucket.
their bench isn't that impressive, and they just
To me
got outscored. I thought honestly, I was telling Joe this. It's a race to like 85 points. The first team to get 85 points are going to win the game in that series. And unfortunately, the Rockets weren't able to score a lot when the bench was on for the Warriors. So it was very lackluster and very disappointing.
No, yeah. I feel like let's just talk all the West, then we'll talk all the East, then we'll go to the finals.
Our guest
Sorry.
is getting attacked.
All right, guest
Oh,
star.
the
My
dog.
My dog was trying to
Who let
jump
the
in.
dogs out?
Wants to be a part of the story. Sorry.
Heck
Okay,
yeah,
Joe,
shout out the dog.
lead us into the next series.
All right, speaking of the Warriors, this was my favorite series to watch. Okay, injuries to any player is horrible. It's a horrible thing. But when Steph Curry was
I knew
out
there was a
with
butt
the
coming.
hamstring injury, I was like, yes, the Timberwolves are going to cook because the Warriors took game one, and I was like, shoot, like the Warriors look really good. Steph gets hurt, the Warriors fall apart faster than like a moist crumble cookie when you take a bite.
Yeah,
Crazy.
And to go back to the
Crazy.
Rockets
I love to
series.
see it.
The Rockets series, Jimmy Butler also got hurt, so that also allowed the Rockets to score a little bit more and be a little more dominant. When Jimmy Butler came back, it was a different story. Going back to the Warriors and Timberwolves, sorry.
Yeah, I think Steph Curry is a strong candidate in that value versus outstanding at this point. He was both for a long time. Like I think any rational person would agree he was, if not the best player in basketball, second best player in basketball for like a good almost 8 to 10 year window. At this point, he brings a ton of value to his team, and you saw what happens when he falls out. Is with Buddy Hield and Podziemski and what Draymond. Like that's not even a playoff team. Like what's the conversation really? So yeah, I think he's super valuable, and losing him was just once it happened, it was just a foregone conclusion. Just wrap the season up. Let's move on.
Yeah.
I agree 100%. And then the other series, we had the Thunder and the Nuggets. Thunder went in 7. This one was interesting to watch because it wasn't like close games. It would be like Thunder blow out the Nuggets. Now the Nuggets blow out the Thunder. There was like one close game in game 5 where the Nuggets won by a few points. But this was a close series, but the games itself weren't like competitive in my opinion because the Thunder won game 7 by like 33 points. And every other game besides like I think it was game 5 where the Nuggets won by like 2 or 3 points was just a blow after blowout. It could have gone either way in my opinion.
Yeah, Thunder have been a wagon. I mean, there's no way around it. They got hot at the right time. They had the right guys playing well at the right time. Like it was a pretty much a foregone conclusion for a long chunk of that.
Yeah,
I agree.
I don't really have a lot to say. I don't want the Thunder to win the finals. Unfortunately, I think they probably are. They got lucky
we'll get to that
this
soon.
matchup. They got lucky in this matchup. I think that the Nuggets should have taken it home, but the Nuggets or the Thunder were very smart running. They've been very smart a lot running double bigs up until recently going against the Pacers. And we'll get into that a little bit. They've been running Hartenstein and Chet, and it's been very effective. They use Hartenstein as the post or setting screens, and then they use Chet Holmgren to get rebounds, and it was very dominant. That's why they got a lot of blowout wins. But now it's kind of slowing down now that they switched up the flow of the game, their game plan, I guess.
Well said, Bryce.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that. And then we have the Western Conference Finals. So when I saw that it was Timberwolves versus Thunder, I like the Timberwolves, but I knew that it was over for them. I mean, they don't really have anybody to really kind of match up on this Thunder's team. They have Anthony Edwards, but Anthony Edwards can only get you so far. I don't think Julius Randle is a great player. He's like another Buddy Hield. He'll be the best player in the NBA for 5 minutes, and then he'll suck. I thought it was a dumb decision to trade Karl Anthony Towns for Julius Randle, and I would have died on the hill that the Timberwolves would have been a lot more successful if they kept Karl Anthony Towns on their team. Because they also went to the Western Conference Finals last year and had like 56 wins. They would have been much better with Karl Anthony Towns on this team, and they messed up by trading him, and it showed in the Western Conference Finals when they lost in 5 games to the OKC.
Yeah, Julius Randle's another guy that I put in a similar category as Russell Westbrook when he was averaging the triple doubles and the teams didn't win. Like you said, he looks really good in these small windows, but at the end of the day, he'll throw up like 22 and 14 and his team will lose by 12. Like he's not a guy that it's like, oh, we need a bucket, go to Julius Randle, or we need a big play, go to Julius Randle. He's ass on defense. His rebounds seem very surface level. He's not like boxing guys out. He's not a banger. He's not tall enough to dominate the boards. He's not small enough to bring the ball up. He's not a great shooter. Like he's just kind of one of those in-between guys where his numbers really don't affect the game a ton, in my opinion. And so I don't know. I'm a huge Anthony Edwards hater. I hate him for his life outside of basketball. And so I had no love for the Timberwolves heading into this.
Although, so here's the thing, like, I love Anthony Edwards because of the basketball player aspect. Like you said, he's not a good person outside of basketball, but at face value, a basketball player, he's probably like one of the best players in the league. Not the best, but he's one of the best. He's very dominant. He's
a great
just
player.
like a walking highlight reel, honestly. This season, honestly, I think he out-highlighted Ja Morant, and Ja Morant is, like, known for the flashy features of dunking and stuff, but, like, I saw more Anthony Edwards dominating the league than Ja Morant, which is kind of surprising to me.
Yeah, I agree. On tape, on TV, like, he's fun to watch. Like, for sure, he's top 10 player. I don't know. He's yet to show me that he can be a guy where he's like, all right, everybody hop on my back. Like, he hits clutch shots. Don't get me wrong. I think he was like one of the top clutch shooters. But like, as far as like wins, as far as like showing up, and I don't know. I'm not sold yet. He's still young. He's still like 22, 23. So there's a very good chance he could develop. LeBron for the first 6-7 years was not viewed as a clutch guy, right? So you can grow into that type of role.
Yeah, I think he has a lot to improve in, and I think obviously he's still young. He has a lot to improve, and I think Timberwolves need to bring in more people to support him because Julius Randle's not it. Rudy Gobert getting older, and he hasn't been that dominant. He's honestly been handed Defensive Player of the Year. He has not been the best defensive player in the league.
The single worst award winner in recent history, if not ever.
I agree.
Because he led the league in blocks for like 4 years in a row. But if you watch basketball, guys would literally single him out. They would try to go one-on-one with Rudy Gobert. If you are the defensive player of the year, they should be avoiding you at all costs. I hate Draymond Green, but you never saw guys being like, let me get Draymond Green one-on-one. Because he's a great defender.
They forced the mismatch, and then they call ISO, and they just
He was so bad. He was so bad. Coaches were pulling him at the end of the season, at the end of games with the Jazz. They would only put him in on offense for his rebounding. When it came down to defense, they would pull him because they knew guys would just ISO him. He's the most overrated player, and he's a dick for his whole COVID thing too. But that's not.
I agree.
Yeah,
he did put the whole league on lock. So
exactly, he's the reason.
He's the reason we had the bubble. Anyway, so moving to the Eastern Conference finally, Mr. Steiner's favorite.
No, you don't have to.
No,
it's good. The Pacers. Listen. From what I remember, the Pacers were the favorites from the beginning of the year until now. So, like, that's
totally.
Great on them, man. Great on them.
So the first series, we had the Cavs and the Heat. Cavs 4-0 sweep. I've said this many times in previous episodes. I thought the Cavs were going to go to the finals, but we'll get into that. Then we had the Pacers and the Bucks. So I really thought the Bucks were going to put up more of a fight, especially when Dame Lillard got out of his blood clots after he got past that.
Which, by the way, he made a quick recovery compared to Victor Wembanyama, who had basically the same team with blood clots. So quick.
That whole situation was weird. Like shout out Dame. Like, Dame's a dog. Like, you want to talk about value. Like, Dame's a freaking dog.
He's one of my favorite players of all time.
For sure. But, like, that whole situation was really weird. Like, he was out for a really long chunk with something super, like, not just like a rolled ankle or like even like torn ACL. Like, that's serious, but like, you don't die from a torn ACL, right? He was out with blood clots, like something that literally kills people. He was out for a long period of time. And I want to say the first 2 games back, freaking Doc Rivers sat him like 4 minutes, and that was it. Right. And so, like, that whole situation was weird. He didn't have the cardio. He didn't have the game speed. And they were just like, come on, Dame, we need you. I get it. You need a guy other than Giannis. But that whole situation was really messed up. And that, like, rubbed me the wrong way. Doc Rivers, Boston legend because he won in 08 with us. But he's been ass since. And I just did not understand
Kyle Kuzma needs to go. Kyle Kuzma needs to turn around and get traded. He's such a liability on the Bucks. It's It's insane that Washington didn't want
I
him. I
remember
don't
when he
think.
was a good defender.
I remember when people said he was
I
going to be
remember
better
when
than
he
Jason
actually-
Tatum.
Yeah, that was
Totally
crazy.
was.
I knew he was never going to
Shout out to those guys.
Yeah, Kyle Kuzma's been very lackluster. He hasn't met up to the hype, although he does have a chip. So you got to give him that.
Yeah, but how much did he really contribute to that Lakers team? Like a bit, but not like that was the LeBron and AD show, and that was the
still has
most
a
Mickey
chip.
Mouse ring of all time.
Which,
Fact.
That
by the
was
way,
like the most Mickey Mouse.
that matchup, the Pacers and the Bucks, are like an amazing matchup because even the in-season rivalry is amazing. So seeing this in the postseason was awesome. Very high intensity. I mean, we saw the Giannis and Papa Halliburton face-off.
And Tyrese's dad, yeah.
So stupid.
And
Stupid.
the Pacers, we're going to talk about the Pacers here in a second. I'm going to quickly breeze through the other series. Boston and Magic, 4-1. We'll get into Boston here in a second.
You forgot the Knicks and the Pistons.
And the Knicks and the Pistons. Knicks won in 4 games. Or 6 games. I really want to shout out the Pistons, though. They were like the worst team like ever, probably one of the worst teams in history last year. And they bounced back and became the 6th seed in the playoffs. I think they're a really young, good, promising team. They got Cade Cunningham, Jaden Ivey, Jalen Duren. They got a nice young core, and they will continue to build upon that. So it was good for them to come here, losing 6, get some experience for your young guys, and get ready for next year.
Yeah.
Now we move on to the semis.
So hold on, can I add something to the Pistons? Yeah. People thought that the Pistons were done after that horrible season. They kind of gave up on Cade Cunningham. They were like, oh, wasted potential. But then they finally decided to build around him and give him role players. And it really shined. It showed that Cade
Shout out Malik Beasley.
He isn't appreciated much in this league. I think people need to look at him. And also, the same thing with Tyrese Halliburton. They don't consider him a star. But I think he is a star. So is Cade Cunningham. Cade Cunningham is a star. He's a star in this league, and I think it's bullshit that these sports analysis people behind the desk could just dictate who is and who isn't a star because of their name. So I just want to rant on that. Stephen A. Smith is one of them.
For my money, Cade Cunningham is the most underrated player in the NBA.
Yeah. He also deserved most improved player because, oh my God, he's the heart and soul of Pistons. And
he's one of the most effortless basketball players that I've seen in recent memory. Like, he's never putting guys on posters. He's never breaking ankles. He's never like doing that like flashy stuff. But at the end of the day, he finishes with 30 points, 8 assists, and 6 rebounds and 2 steals. And all of a sudden it's like, well, how the hell did the Pistons win? Oh, right. It was Cade Cunningham.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And they built around him and they gave him help. And it just drastically shows when you build around your superstar and you give them help and you give role players who are comfortable with their role, it improves the basketball team significantly. Any player that's willing to just come into the team and contribute, and like the amount of grit in the Pistons team is amazing. So I just want to leave that. I think the Pistons are going to be very good if they draft good, if they get more free agency, if they just give it a little bit more time. I think they will be up there. I think they might be a contender in like 3 or 4 years.
Shout out Coach Gallio. You told me I was the only Celtics fan in California. Coach Gallio is the only Pistons fan in California. So we got to shout out.
And I think he deserves his flowers because the Pistons are going to be good very, very soon. So keep a watch out for that, honestly.
And I remember, I doubt Coach Gallio watches these, but if you are watching Coach Gallio, in my last year, he was subbing for my English class, and he said, he told me, he said the Pistons will be better than the Kings next year. And I said, no, you're crazy. The Pistons are going to suck. And here we are. The Kings can't even make the playoffs. Trade your your franchise's best player in like 20 years for Zach LaVine. Boy, I have some choice words for that guy.
By the way, the Kings are short a guard. The Kings need a guard desperately, and they traded away 2 superstar guards in De'Aaron Fox and Tyrese Halliburton. So
I was pissed about Fox. Like, I'm sure you loyal Sports and Beyond fans remember that one episode where I grabbed my Fox jersey and threw it across the room because I was so pissed off. That really ticked me off, and seeing how we missed his presence really made me angry about how Monty McNair took that situation. But now he's out of here. But I don't think Scott Perry's much better. So we'll see how this shit show of a franchise continues to run.
Although
Are
I
we
am
still
interested to see something.
are we still lighting the beam? I'm confused. Is that
Yes,
how,
yes,
is
yes,
that
we are.
We're
Because
still
guess,
lighting the
guess
beam.
who's
We're
gonna
still
okay, I
save us?
just want to make
Guess
sure.
who's gonna
I keep
save
looking
us?
at I
Sorry.
keep looking at my window and I see 0 beams. So I just want to make sure
Guess
I
who's
was
gonna
still
save
okay.
us? The GOAT,
Okay.
Keon Ellis. He's gonna save us. He's a generational player for the Sacramento
Keon
Kings.
Ellis
Keon Ellis is gonna save the
be
franchise.
Oh,
Keon
God.
Ellis MVP next year.
Fact. Write it down. Tattoo it.
That is not going to happen. That is not going to happen.
Yeah,
Anyway, now
Kings
finally
may-
moving on to the Eastern semis. We had the Pacers versus the Cavs. I fully expected the Cavs to take this in like 5 or 6 games. But by God, did the Pacers shock the world and continue to shock the world in their playoff run. Tyrese Halliburton played amazingly in this series. But somebody that's been flying heavily under the radar for this Pacers
Pascal.
team is Pascal Siakam.
Mhm.
Siakam's been a great player for the Pacers, whether it's a good presence on defense to stop the other opposing team's big man. He did a really good job on stopping Evan Mobley in this series. I thought he did a great job, but nobody really highlighted that. Not that Evan Mobley is like a huge offensive presence. He's still a pretty big guy, and Pascal was able to score on Evan Mobley, who was a finalist for Defensive Player of the Year. Or didn't he? Wait, did he? No, he didn't. Did he win it, right?
Pascal,
he didn't
no.
win it. No, Evan Mobley.
This year?
He's a finalist. Yeah, he was a finalist.
No, yeah, he didn't win it this year, and that was a huge relief to the Cavs because if he had won it this year, it was going to trigger something in his contract. He was going to be up for like the super duper max instead of just like a regular redo. So they were actually kind of excited.
Yeah. He was a finalist. Yeah, I remember that. So I thought this was a great, well-played series by the Pacers, and Tyrese Halliburton continued to impress.
Yeah, I have a name for the Pacers, and I think everyone will agree. The Possum Pacers. They pretend to be dead for 3 full quarters, and they just keep it in reach just a little bit. 10 points, 12, 16 points, and then boom, right at the end, 5, 6 minutes left. They come back and they play phenomenal basketball. They make hardly any mistakes. In the finals, they had 16 turnovers in the first half. And then for the rest of the game, 3 turnovers and came back to win the game. That's super impressive from the Possum Pacers.
But I thought the 3-point shooting was bad for basketball, Bryce. Can you enlighten me?
No, what I'm saying is that the Possum Pacers are awesome. They're amazing. They play.
You got to trademark that. You got to trademark that Possum Pacers. You got to put a TM on there and see how much money.
I think that the way they play, like their way of basketball is very interesting. And I know we talked about the 3-point shooting, but it works. Unfortunately, it works. And we see it here. The Pacers have just boom, boom, boom. They're so dominant on the transition. They play the ball fast all the time. If you watch any games in the finals, there's not a single time that they wait to like set up a play. They just throw the ball in as soon as it's scored. They play fast-paced tempo basketball. And it's
talk more about
impressive.
We'll talk more about the Pacers in a second, but I love the way the Pacers play basketball. They play fundamentals. They don't have the guys that are chucking threes. They don't have the guys. They play really pretty basketball. Tyrese Halliburton might be one of the last pure point guards in the NBA. And I don't mean that in a sense where he can't score, because obviously he can score. But like I think in my opinion, he's probably the best passer in basketball, and he doesn't hate that role. Like the point guards these days are like, yeah, I can pass, but I also got to get mine. And like to me, that's not the most complete. Right. It's not a traditional point guard. He's a dog on defense. He's top 5 in steals every year. He's getting his guys open. And you want to talk about pure value, like Pascal Siakam he's not a top 20 guy, right? So you've got Halliburton, who is, but then their next best guy is like maybe 25 in the NBA. So like the fact that they're competing is a tribute to the guy who's setting up the offense, and that's got to be Halliburton.
Yeah, everyone on the Pacers team knows their role. They know what they need to do to win games, and they do it very, very well. Thomas Bryant coming off the bench and just banging out threes. He's been very impressive. TJ McConnell obviously been very, very impressive. Andrew Nembhard been playing pretty good. There's a lot of players on the Pacers that they've just been playing very, very, very good, and it's just impressive. I just think that they need to switch something up because it's not working in the finals. They're playing against a very physical defensive team, and they're struggling. You could obviously see that they are struggling in some aspects of the game. and they try to keep the game in reach, but then sometimes they just let it go way too out of reach. We saw it in the most recent game. They had it. It was an 18-point game. They brought it to 8, and then they just lost grip of the game. It just fell out of control. And something interesting. Oh, I'll talk about this in the finals. But sorry, when we get to the finals, let's keep going. I have a lot to say.
Okay. By the way, just a correction, Mr. Steiner, we were wrong. Evan Mobley did win the Defensive Player of the Year. I thought he did. But
I thought Jaren Jackson took it.
That was the no.
I knew he won it. Jaren Jackson won it last year, but I thought he won it again this year. But yeah,
last year, and then Gobert was the year before. Yeah. So yeah, we were wrong about that. Now moving on to the big one right here. Knicks and Celtics. The Knicks take it in Game 6. What do you think of this one, Mr. Steiner?
He turned off the camera. Okay.
He said no comment. Mic drop.
Listen. I'm not gonna make excuses. They choked it. They should have. Yeah, it should have been Celtics in 5. I care that Jason Tatum tore his Achilles. Like, obviously, that is a crippling thing. But like, anybody that says that's the reason we lost is an idiot. Like, we lost the series by game 3 or 4. We came out and literally missed Celtics. The Celtics came out and missed literally a historic amount of 3-pointers in games 1 and 2. And what did we do? We continued to chuck, right? Like, there were no adjustments. Right. And so this is the argument that I made earlier with the 3-point basketball is that guys come up. These are the pros. These are the best of the best. Right. So they know how to adjust. So I'm not saying that they're idiots, but like in situations like this, you have to have a second option. You have to have a third option. You have to have adjustments. Right. Joe Mazzulla is a leader of men. Right. The Boston Celtics head coach, Joe Mazzulla, he'll get guys to run through a wall, including me, including all of Boston, including guys who don't even root for the Celtics, but they hear his pregame stuff, right? Like, he's that guy. He can motivate you. But God, he didn't make a single adjustment, right? Yeah. We got our asses kicked game 1. And what did we do? Same shit in game 2. And guess what happened? Got our asses kicked in game 2. Not only that, we blew gigantic leads because we didn't adjust. And then all of a sudden, it's like, oh, well, Porzingis is in 100%. And all of a sudden, Tatum is hurt. And that's why. No, they lost because they didn't adjust. The New York Knicks are a scrappy-ass basketball team. Jalen Brunson, for all the flopping bullshit that I think he did, I absolutely hated watching Jalen Brunson play basketball. And that's not even just a bitter Celtics fan. That's just in general. Yeah. For everything he did, like, adjust. If that's his thing, then what are you going to do? Right? You got to slip under screens and make him hit jump shots instead of crowding his space so he can draw fouls. If he's going to drive, you got to have a second guy there. You got to switch off. Like, there's adjustments in basketball that needed to happen, and Joe Mazzulla made 0. And so, sure, Kristaps Porzingis was not 100%. Talking about, like, lung stuff. They were saying he could barely breathe. Obviously, he's a very good basketball player. That's not why we lost. Jason Tatum tore his Achilles in game 4 or 5, whatever. I stopped watching, if I'm being completely honest. That is not why we lost the basketball game. Jaylen Brown not being able to dribble his left hand. That's not why we lost the basketball game. They lost the basketball game because New York wanted it more, because there might have been some sort of championship hangover. Maybe, maybe not. It's easy to say as a fan. I'm not on the team, right? But there were just 0 adjustments made. And then all of a sudden they're in the hole. They win a couple games, but the NBA is too good these days. If you go down too much, you can't just, okay, guys, hey, it's time to win 3 straight. That's not how it works. I don't care. I don't care if it's number 30 team in the NBA or it's the number 1 team in the NBA. You can't just bank on being able to come back against guys. And the Celtics did, and this is what happens.
Yeah, I agree. And something I would like to know is I remember I was watching game 2 in Buffalo Wild Wings when me and my friends were doing the Unlimited Wings Challenge, and the score, like, Celtics were up by like 20 points, and I was like, oh, me and my friend Christian Peebles were like, oh, yeah, exactly. Celtics got this.
Exactly.
No adjustments made. Knicks just start raining down threes, and the Celtics are doing nothing about it. No timeouts, nothing. Just
kept chucking up shit.
Chucking up shit.
So Joe, what was more painful? The slow serving at Buffalo Wild Wings or the slow adjustments from the Celtics?
Option C, my stomach after I ate all the wings. But the Celtics was
Fire.
more control.
Fire. So stomachs, Celtics, servers, Celtics.
That's the order.
Yep.
That's the order.
Yep. That's the order.
Okay. I don't really have a lot to say about this matchup. I on no like nothing aside. From the beginning, I thought the Celtics were going to win it all. I said that the Celtics were going to win it all. I said Celtics
Vegas did
OKC
too.
final. Jay, just like you said, no adjustments, and that's a huge problem in sports. When you know you're a dominant team, you know you could do good, and you don't make adjustments in the game, you can't do anything. And it's at such a high level that the players should know this system isn't working. They should step up and be like, okay, it's not working. We can't shoot a bunch of threes because they're not landing. Let's go. Let's run a pick and roll. I'm telling you, pick and roll is one of the oldest plays in the game, but it's one of the most dominant plays in the game. If you could run a dominant pick and roll, you could be a dominant basketball team. Setting off ball screens, getting wide open looks in the mid range, driving to the rim. They have Jason Tatum. He's an amazing driving basketball player. He could shoot the mid range, he could shoot the three. He could do it all, and they weren't using him efficiently. And then same thing you said, driving to the left, it doesn't matter. If you're going to drive to the right, you could drive to the right. It doesn't, like, you need to find different ways. If they're going to force you to the left, go to the left. You're an NBA player. You could do things with your left hand. I feel like at that level, there shouldn't be like a reason why you aren't able to do it, especially at a star caliber. It's like frustrating that they weren't able to adjust because there's so many different teams that don't adjust. The Sacramento Kings had a problem with Mike Brown not adjusting to the system, not calling timeouts at the right time. Kill momentum. That's the problem. And like you said, they had a 20-point lead. They didn't call any timeouts.
Twice.
Yeah, they didn't call any timeouts, and momentum just dropped from the roof.
Unacceptable. If the Celtics hadn't won the championship last year, Joe Mazzulla's head would be on a stake right now. That's just the reality of the situation.
Yeah. You have like 6 timeouts every NBA game. Yeah, you have 6 timeouts. It won't hurt to use 1 or 2 if they're going on a run.
Can't take him home with you. That's the old saying. Can't take him home. Joe Mazzulla, like he's a dog. Like he loves to put his guys in situations where it's like, show me what you got. So like, I respect him in that sense. Like, I'm not trying to say that I'm a better coach than him because obviously I'm not. My issue is that like he has a tendency to be like, oh, we're on the butt end of a 6-0 run. We're on the butt end of an 8-2 run. We're on the butt end of a 10-2 run. Show me what you got. Like, no, call timeout. Like, they've shown you what they have. Like, it's time for you to coach
they
now.
Need help.
Yeah,
they need
I don't know.
help.
So that was just frustrating. Two 20-point loss, 20-point leads that developed in losses, and then 2 historically poor 3-point shooting, and we made 0 adjustments on either. It's just, it says a lot about the coach.
And I get, like you said earlier in the podcast, that the Celtics were like one of the most dominant teams in the 3-point during the regular season, but it wasn't working during the postseason. So why keep forcing it? It's just turnover after turnover. If you're not going to get the boards, because I mean, Kristaps Porzingis, he's an amazing player. He's an amazing big, but he can't get all the rebounds. It's going to be very hard to get all of those offensive rebounds, especially when you're doing an ISO, basically everyone on the arc, and you're just chucking up threes. So the Celtics, in a way, they kind of beat themselves. Poor coaching led to very poor
100%. results.
Poor game planning led to very poor results. And it does suck seeing Jason Tatum get hurt, but I think the league's going to be shaken because I think Jason Tatum's going to come back better than ever, honestly.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Okay.
And now moving on to like the big one. Oh, wait, do you have something to say, Bryce?
No.
Okay. The big one I thought was like the best series, or one of the best series so far, was the Eastern Conference Finals against the Pacers and the Knicks. And this one's just super infamous just because of the Tyrese Halliburton, Reggie Miller, the choking celebration after he hit that clutch shot. That was insane. Like, I thought the Pacers just had that insane momentum and just carried it out through the 6-game series. Mm-hmm. Once they went up 3-1, I knew that the Knicks had no chance of coming back. I mean, they're like Mr. Steiner said earlier, they're like the biggest fool's gold team in the NBA right now. I don't think they're that crazy good. Jalen Brunson, I personally think he's overrated, and he is not an impact player in the fourth quarter. He is not a player you want slinging the ball in the clutch. The only reason why they kept it competitive is because Karl Anthony Towns had a heroic at game 2 in the end, where he scored like 21 points in the quarter and kept the Knicks in it. Otherwise, I thought, although the Knicks lost in 6, it felt like the Pacers swept them. The Pacers really dominated this series.
Yeah, this is the Halliburton coming out. He the athletic polls or whatever it was, they
Most
14%
overrated
of the
player.
league, voted him the most overrated player. And that shit came back to him. Like, I guarantee he saw that and he's like, oh yeah, watch this. Like I said before, I don't want to rehash anything, but he's one of the last pure point guards. He's clutch as hell. He's like one of the greatest clutch shooters in playoff history right now, statistically. The fact that he pulled back that layup after he lost the ball and he chucked up a 3 to basically call game, like that's just, you can't teach that, right? He's fun right now. I don't typically, once my team is out, I don't usually root for anybody. I'm just like, whatever, it's for the basketball. I'm kind of pulling for the Pacers. We're going to talk more Pacers once we get to this final series that we'll talk about in a second. But like, the Pacers are fun basketball. They are a different style of basketball than we're used to seeing these last several years, and I'm rooting for them.
Yeah, Tyrese Halliburton showing the world what he got. It's insane for him to be called the most overrated player, and then him to go out and do that multiple times. He did it against the Bucks. He's done it against the Cavs, and now he did it against the Knicks. And in future reference, he does it against the Thunder too. So this man shows up every night and puts on the best version of himself. Now, like you said, he's a very like good passing guard, and the stat line shows that like he could go and drop 6 points, but he has like 10 assists, like 3 steals, 2 blocks. Like, he is a role player. He knows his role. He knows the game plan, and he sticks to it. And if they need to, he could go out and get a bucket every once in a while. So you got to respect him for that. Props to the Pacers. I think through, like, no matter what people say about this team, they deserve to be where they are. And I think they're probably one of the most worthy teams right now to win the NBA Finals just because of the pure passion that they have for basketball. Indiana, I didn't know that they show up and show out, but Indiana is a great state for basketball.
Bro, Indiana is a blue blood. Indiana Hoosiers, Indiana basketball is legit. Indiana basketball is life. Like, they haven't been good enough to show it since like the 90s with Reggie Miller and Rick Smits and those teams. But Indiana, like, basketball is life. That's all they got. I mean, their football team's been okay this year. But like, Indiana basketball is, that's where it's at.
No, yeah, I agree. And now we move on to the NBA Finals, which is a point that's taken us 30 minutes to get to, probably longer than that. But I specifically remember game 1. Bryce kept saying, because in our 6th period class, me and Sophia Lopes, she was our guest in our very first episode, for those of you all who remember her. Me and Sophia are like, no, Thunder got this in 5, maybe even sweep. The Thunder are like a really good team, and I could see them just completely demolishing the Pacers. And Bryce said game 1, Pacers were winning. We're like, hell no, you're crazy. You're crazy. We're on the stage for graduation. This game is happening in the middle of our graduation. I stuck my phone there
weird.
because the teacher told us not to. Brought my phone. And then Sophia's like, I was sitting right next to Sophia. And Sophia's like, what's the score? I was like, oh, okay, cool. I'll go check it right now. Final. Pacers 110, Pacers 111, OKC 110. Overtime thriller. Tyrese hits another game-clinching shot and wins the game for the Pacers. Absolutely crazy game 1, in my opinion. I didn't see it because, we were kind of graduating. But it was just shocking to look at my phone and see that the Pacers stole game 1.
Bryce was more excited about that than graduating.
I genuinely was, because everyone I talked to about the finals was like, oh no, you're crazy. You think the Pacers are going to take one in OKC? You're crazy to win game 1. And then they go and do it. Just like me walking the stage. Everyone doubted me, but I did it.
Yes,
Nice.
You're right, Bryce. Hats off to you.
So yeah, I'm happy for myself. I walked the stage, but I also got to live during the best time. Indiana Pacers taking game 1 in OKC.
Years from now, that's all people will talk about, is how Indiana won game 1.
No, okay. I'm gonna get into this after we wrap this up. I'm gonna say something that I think is gonna stand true. But Indiana Pacers play like we said, they play fast-paced tempo basketball. They stick to it. It's very like, I enjoy watching the Indiana Pacers because it's just all for the love of basketball. They love like we said, Indiana loves basketball, and the way they play is just phenomenal. So I have nothing to complain about how they play. They play very fast, very foundation like. Pascal Siakam, which is still a dominant player, and I think they need to add him a little bit more in the finals. He hasn't shown up too much in the finals recently, um, but everyone else has been doing their role. Game two, it was rough to watch. Honestly, I
Mhm.
I didn't
Mhm.
like game two, and at some points, like once OKC goes on such a huge run, I can't do it anymore because it's just like they get like handed so many different calls, and it's like just bailout calls. There's no reason why some of the calls that they get should go in their favor.
Yeah, SGA is a foul merchant, but I do want to credit OKC because they're a very, very good defensive team. And when they go up, it's very hard to come back against them. And so,
Yeah.
yeah, SGA gets bailed out a lot, and that makes it tough too because he's going to the line and guys are picking up fouls, and it's hard to play defense when you got fouls. Like I understand that. I'm not trying to discount that, but OKC is also a very, very good defensive team. They play very good team defense. And so it is like once they go up, it's like a pressure cooker. It's hard to get out.
Yeah, it's just like I can't believe how like the Indiana Pacers were on a high. They had so much momentum going into the next game, and it just like it crashed. They lost
Mhm.
that game 123 to 107, and I honestly thought I texted Mr. Steiner. I said that the Indiana Pacers were going to win 107 to 103 because I thought the Indiana Pacers were going to play very good momentum. They had the whole state of Indiana on their back. They just pulled game one, which people told me was impossible, and then they go and do that, a stinker of a game, just a horrible,
Yeah.
horrible game. Shea's been
Absolutely.
on like as much shit as we give Shea. Shea's just like proven that like he's
No,
just so dominant.
I think free throws or not, Shea is one of the best players in basketball.
Yeah,
Like he's
like
just
Yeah.
34 points on 36 minutes in a final game is that's what wins you the game. Honestly, having players that drop 34, we have one dropping 34, Jalen Williams dropping 19, Chet 15, everyone else on the starting lineup like Lou Dort 3, and then
He's a dog.
Cart Cason Wallace dropped 4. And then their bench only dropped one person on the bench dropped 20 points. Alex Caruso. Other than that, everyone else didn't show up. So like
Mhm.
SGA in this game is like the heart of their offense and the reason why they had such a big lead. Once you remove SGA from the equation, the Pacers take the series, honestly. And there's been instances in game three that really just prove that there's a problem. Did you guys watch game three?
Which one was that one? The Pacers took that one, right?
Mm, no, was it game three or game four? It might have been game. No, it was game three.
Yeah, the Pacers took that one because then the OKC tied it up, and then OKC won this one. Um, I don't think I watched that one. If I'm being real.
It's just like the refs kept them in the game. Honestly, that was the biggest thing. That's one of the things that I have a problem with the OKC Thunder. The refs keep them in the game at some points. There was a
Mm-hmm.
meme going around. I think his name's Scott Forster. That the extender.
Scott Foster, the extender,
Yes.
baby.
Yep. Strikes again. Strikes
No, yeah,
again. It. I don't
not a
think
fan of.
that if like the phantom fouls on SGA is insane. Like literally hand on. So the hand on the arm before the shot's up. As soon as the shot's up, hands up. They call a shooting foul. Didn't even touch him when he went up for the shot. And they call it a
Yeah.
foul. He kicks out the foot. They barely graze his foot because he kicked it out. Call it a shooting foul. They do the jump ball. Call it a shooting foul. It's like, dude, how many times are you gonna hand them the game?
Yeah, and I think
Mhm.
just to segue towards the end of this, the biggest problem right now is Halliburton's hurt.
Yeah,
And like
the captain.
we've spent 2-3 different sections already talking about the value that he brings to his team as the guy that facilitates, the guy that can get a bucket, the guy that's clutch, the guy that plays defense. Now he's hurt.
Yeah,
And so everything I've seen, I've been trying to check my notifications to see if he's going to try to play. Everything I've seen is saying he's going to try to play, but like if you're not 100%, you're not 100%. And you're already down in the series, you're going against a very good team. Like if you're not 100%, then like, it is what it is. So that kind of sucks. I'm rooting for the Pacers because like we said, I think they play a lot of fun basketball. But without Halliburton, I think this shit's already over.
Yeah, and like even to go and show, it was game 4. I was watching the game and I got a text on my phone. Sophia, we mentioned her, Sophia Lopes. She texted a group chat with me and Joe, and she's like, "Where's Halliburton?" And it's like it goes to show that when Halliburton's off the court,
Game
there's
5.
just a huge game 5. Sorry, there's a huge
Yeah.
gap in their productivity. It
Yeah,
just
it's a
like
different game.
it went down, and their bench kept them in this game, and that's important too. I saw a stat where like it was Pacers versus OKC's bench. When Pacers bench outscores OKC's bench, they win the game. When they don't, they lose. So you need the bench players to step up, and they just haven't been able to do it recently, and that's what's causing them to lose.
Yeah, more importantly, as you guys were talking, I just saw a stat go across on SportsCenter. When Halliburton plays, the Pacers are plus 108. When Halliburton's out, they're minus 67.
Yeah,
You want to talk about value, like that's value.
yeah,
Mhm.
and they're gonna
Very
desperately
different.
need them if they want to, like, if they want anything, if they want to win. That's the biggest thing. If they want to win, they need it. If they want to be dominant, they want to keep this in the game. And I don't mind, like I said, Boston Pacers, their whole gist is being pretending to be down, pretending to be out of the game for 3 quarters and then come back to take it. But OKC's used to it. They know it. They're used to it. They're gonna adapt. They're gonna know that they're gonna play this. So they're just gonna build momentum and keep building until it's unreachable. So they need to go back to the drawing board and figure something out quick, like very, very quickly.
Mhm.
Yeah, I
We
think this one's a foregone conclusion.
Yeah. So we have two
Yeah.
other segments wrapped up. We
I gotta give me 2 seconds. I gotta step away. I'll be right back.
Yep, perfect. Okay. So like we mentioned, I have two different things set up. And I don't think there's enough time to talk about the second option. We could talk about that in the next podcast. I really want to get into our new game that, I mean, it's not new. Everyone knows what it is. But I think it's going to be very fun. We're waiting on our
Boy.
guests to come back. But just to announce to everyone, me and Joe, like we said, we've been talking, we've been brainstorming, we've been figuring things out. And we I want to talk about the future of this. Joe's obviously going to go to college soon. I'm also going to college. But me and Joe have come together and we want to try filming IRL podcasts. And in those IRL podcasts, it will be a little bit more like the beyond side of it. Obviously, we've been heavy on the sports this episode. I think in person we want to focus on the beyond, maybe talk a little bit more about life, talk a little bit more about things outside of sports because sports is a very heavy subject. And obviously, this is sports and beyond. Our niche of this podcast is talking about the sports and then enjoying the beyond of it, going outside of the circle that we have. So I think that's the plan going on. If you guys want us to bring on guests while we do in-person podcasts, we're definitely open to that too. We're figuring out the details, but new podcast on the way. Trust me, we will lock in. We're gonna try doing 2 episodes a week too. Joe, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think that because Bryce is going to Merced College, I assume you're going to still live at home, right?
Yeah, for now.
Yeah, and I'm going down to Cal Poly Slow, so we're gonna be very limited on our recording time. So Bryce and I are gonna try and pump out as many episodes as we can in the summer. I think we're gonna try and do a few pre-recorded episodes,
Mhm.
and a few instead of just like full episodes, we're gonna do like a little bit of like bits and pieces, like little 15-20 minute videos and stuff like that to keep the content going. But we have continued plans for this podcast, and it's definitely not gonna die since we graduated high school. It's only up from here.
Yeah, and also important to note, me and Joe were talking about this earlier. We might do like a throwback episode where we talk about old finals or old teams or old stuff, and we kind of reflect later on in the future and kind of see it from a future standpoint, like blockbuster trades when they happen. Everyone thought that this was revolutionary, and then it crumbled, and we see the final results, and we see everything pan out. Draft prospects, and we see that. So we could do like a throwback episodes where that's when we do our pre-recorded episodes. So there will be episodes that we are recording. Don't worry, Sports and Beyond is only on the come up. If you guys are interested in seeing merch, we could definitely try doing merch as we grow. But for now, it would be greatly appreciated to share our content, make sure everyone gets to see it. We're gonna be uploading clips more often. I think clips
We
is
need to do that.
something very, very important. We're gonna start trying to do short form content and stuff like that. I got word that our guest is back. We're gonna bring him back on to the table, and we're gonna skip the one subject we talked about and jump right into our little game, our new segment we brought. Let me get this up for you guys because I think this is something interesting. It's something new for sure.
Oh boy.
Let me get it.
While you're pulling that up, can I just make a suggestion? You
Sure.
guys should bring in like experts in sports and just like talk
We're
about
trying.
like timeless specific things, right? Like Coach Dave from the baseball team. Like he
Yes.
could talk about baseball for 100 years. He could tell you every season, every player, and all that stuff. It'd be a really cool thing, and that'll help out with your like needing something timeless that doesn't necessarily rely on what's going on in the
Yeah.
news. Bring in, coach, of the academic team and just talk about the team and, just do that type of stuff. That'd be a cool thing to watch.
Yeah, I mean, Joe, and I just announced this to everyone else, but we are working towards IRL content. So we are going to bring in microphones. I'm getting a sound mixer. I'm getting a new computer, so we're able to do these
Hell
things.
yeah.
So
Hell yeah.
once we get in person, I'm definitely open to going into interviews. And I think one thing that we want to do, or I've talked to Joe about, is we have a whole podcast full of the guests talking about sports and getting their opinions and picking their brain. But I also think, and not to pat my own back or anything, I had a teacher teach me how to conduct an interview, right? I had one of the best journalism teachers in the state of in the state of California, some might
Facts.
say, teach me how to conduct an interview. And I want to have a spotlight where I just sit with the guests and we have like a 20-minute conversation. So everyone kind of gets to know the guests. And I think that's something we want to do in the future. So we're definitely
That'd be
open
sick.
to criticism and stuff like that. Not even
That'd be
criticism, but
sick.
feedback and stuff like that. But like we said, we're moving into our Jeopardy game. Can you guys see the screen?
Wow.
Yeah. What do you
Do
guys think?
we have to answer in a question, or can we just give an accurate answer?
So you pick the number. It gives you the question, and you got to answer it.
Okay.
It's pretty straightforward, honestly. Who wants to be team one and team two? Actually, we'll flip a coin. Let me get a coin.
I mean, I could be team 2. I don't really care.
Okay. And how we're playing is the person who picks them. You guys take turns picking numbers. If you get it wrong, or like if you get it wrong, it goes to the next person to pick it. I know the answer.
Okay.
And it'll go like that. And then we're just gonna play the whole board. So team one's gonna be Coach. Team two is gonna be Joe. Okay, you guys see that?
Oh. Yeah.
You coach, pick your subject and your number.
Are there daily doubles?
No.
Okay. So sometimes they'll let's do NBA throwback for 3.
Okay. The NBA legend was known for his skyhook shot and retired the league, all-time league scorer in 1989.
Okay. Goes by 2 names, so I want to cover both. We have Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, but also Lou Alcindor.
Brought in the old
Whom
name.
is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar? Correct. 300.
Oh,
Now, Joe.
That's a gimme, bro. That's a gimme.
Damn it, Bryce. The whom? Really? Whom? That's not correct. I taught you.
It wasn't me. It wasn't me.
Oh my
It was
God.
me. It was me. I'm gonna be
Minus points.
Yeah.
Plus points for me. Minus points for you.
Okay, whatever. I'm not a grammar teacher. I'm not a teacher.
Yeah.
I'm a high school student. Okay, Joe, your turn.
Give me NFL throwback for 4.
NFL throwback for 4. This wide receiver, known as the Playmaker, won 3 Super Bowls with Dallas Cowboys in 1990s.
Michael Irvin.
And the answer is, whom is Michael Irvin? Good job, Joe. Going back to Mr. Steiner. Let's see what you got.
Let's do all-time leaders for 2.
All-time leaders for 2.
Curious.
Spice it up.
The MLB player holds the record for the most career home runs with 762.
Is there an asterisk? There's got to be an asterisk on here somewhere. I don't see it.
Perhaps there is.
Oh, got it. Okay, so if there's an asterisk, it's Barry Bonds. If there's not, it's Hank Aaron.
Whom is Barry Bonds?
Yeah.
Damn. Okay.
Okay,
Yeah,
Joe, throwing it to you.
Give me NFL throwback for 3.
NFL throwback for 3.
I'm-
This team went undefeated
Dolphins.
in the 1972.
Dolphins.
I didn't even get to finish reading the
You don't even need to
question.
finish the sentence. Dolphins.
Okay, Dolphins it is.
Boom.
Okay, Mr. Steiner, back to you.
NBA for 5.
NBA for
Ooh.
5. Okay.
Hanging for the fence.
The Hall of Famer is the only player to record a quadruple double and win Defensive Player of the Year in the same season.
That would be. Oh shit!
I
I'm
know.
torn between 2.
I think I know.
I'm gonna say it was Hakeem Olajuwon.
Joe, would you like to steal?
Fuck.
We can do that?
Yeah, because
Yeah, I got it wrong.
David Robinson.
Yeah,
The
that was my other one.
is. Oh wait, I was wrong.
Oh! Mr. Steiner was right.
Yeah.
Of course he was.
I thought it was David
Asshole.
Robinson.
Why did you take it away from me? You said you know the answers.
I gave it to you. I honestly thought I put the wrong name, but that's on
Yeah,
me.
you shouldn't have let
You
me
got the
steal
point.
then.
You got the point.
You shouldn't have
Don't
let
worry.
me. You shouldn't have given me the opportunity to steal then. If you
You gave me my points.
Yes, you got your points. You're at 1,000
All
points.
right.
Shows at 700.
All right.
All right, give me NFL throwback for 5. We're swinging for the
NFL
fence.
throwback for 5. This quarterback was first overall pick in the 1983 NFL draft, but never played a down for
boy.
the team that drafted him.
83. Holy shit.
Is it Andre Ware?
Mr. Steiner, would you like to steal?
Fudge. No, he played for the. I think I know who this is, but I think I got his name wrong.
Yeah, I'm good.
No steal?
No, I'm good. All right, I got nothing.
Whom is John Elway, drafted by the Colts, traded
I'm stupid.
to.
I thought it was Andre Ware who played for the Lions.
No one gets points there. And Mr. Steiner, you're on the
Alrighty.
board.
Let's do some Olympic Games. Give me Olympic Games for 2.
I think you put Olympic Games there just to specifically
This
cook me,
Jamaican
Bryce.
sprinter
I don't
won
know.
8 Olympic gold medals and set the world record for the
Oh,
100
come
meter
on.
and 200.
I know that one.
That would be the Usain Bolt.
Yeah.
Correct. Joe, back to you.
Man, I think you put Olympic Games just to cook me, Bryce. Give me NBA throwback for 4.
NBA throwback for 4. Before becoming a coaching legend, this player is known as the Logo and played for the Lakers in the 60s and 70s.
Jerry West. Jerry West.
Correct. And it's a 100-point game. Mr. Steiner, back to you.
Am I allowed to ask a question?
What do you mean?
Are all-time leaders, is it like 4 major sports, or are you going to pull out like ping pong and stuff?
It depends. They're all different, basically.
Only one way to find out.
Let's make it interesting. Let's do all-time for 4.
All time for 4.
Oh,
This NFL wide receiver leads the league in all-time receptions, receiving yards, and receiving touchdowns.
Oh man, I would hate to let this one go back to Joe. Oh man, that's got to be Jerry Rice.
Who is Jerry Rice? Correct.
Oh man.
Oh!
Sorry,
no,
Joe.
I knew it as soon as I saw
500-point
it.
game. Joe?
Jerry Rice leads by like 7,000 yards. Okay. Give me all-time leaders for 3.
All-time leaders for 3. With 23 Grand
swear
Slam
this is
single
baseball.
titles, this American tennis player
Oh.
holds the most in Open era.
Why is this 300? Hey, is it a man or a woman?
Doesn't matter. You can't ask questions.
Serena Williams.
Great answer.
Oh, boy.
Good for you.
What a
That's
guess.
the best. Oh! I didn't think I got that one.
Coach, back to you.
Why is that 300? That should be 500.
Let's do modern sports for 3.
Modern sports for 3.
Oh, boy.
This player won the Golden Boot in 2022 FIFA World Cup in Qatar with a total of 8 goals, scoring a hat-trick in the final.
Oh shit.
I know this one.
I'm thinking back 2022.
This is one I know.
I'm honestly,
I kind of did this one for Joe because I know he would know it.
I was golfing. I was golfing during this whole thing. You're not helping.
Don't choke. Don't choke. Don't choke. Don't choke.
Shit.
Just get it wrong already.
Qatar, Argentina. I
On
don't
the
know.
clock, 30
Messi.
seconds.
It's not Messi.
Can I steal?
Yeah, go ahead.
Joe, you could steal.
Kylian Mbappe.
Yeah.
Kylian
that was my
Kylian
ball.
Mbappe.
And Joe's in the lead. Joe with the comeback lead. Who's on the board?
Right.
Who's on the clock?
Me.
Okay.
Give me an NFL throwback 200.
This legendary quarterback led the 49ers to 4
Really?
Super Bowl wins. There's one for you, too. Calm down. Don't come for
Are
me.
you shitting me?
Joe?
Joe Montana, baby.
Correct.
Nope. Jeff Garcia, idiot.
Oh, yeah. Jeff
Okay.
Garcia, the legendary quarterback.
Steiner, you're on the clock.
NBA for 2.
NBA for 2.
Some way. Oh. This is the one for Steiner.
Celtics.
You just happen to pick it back to back. I told you there was one for you. Good job.
Bummer.
Okay. Joe?
Give me, you know what? Swing for the fence. All-time leaders 500.
Oh,
All-time
baby.
leaders 500.
We're swinging for the
This
damn fence.
player is recognized by
Oh.
FIFA as the all-time leading scorer in official matches with over 800
Boo.
career goals. 900 now, technically. Correct.
Bullshit.
That's why you swing for the fence.
Mr. Steiner?
My goat. My goat.
I'm down 600. I need to make a move. Modern sports 4.
There you
Modern
go. Swing
sports
for
for
the
400. These players are the only ones in the MLB history to win MVP in both the American League and
What the hell? I have to answer 2 people?
No, you could. I'll give you one. You can answer if you answer just one, you get it. But there is 2 options.
I don't even know this one.
Only MLB to win an MVP in both the American and the National League. A-Rod.
Aaron Judge, right?
No, A-Rod. Alex
A-Rod.
Rodriguez.
Honestly, I can't. I don't remember the first name. I'm gonna be honest.
Okay.
There's
What's the
another
last name?
You could get the other name.
You're on
See if
drugs.
you got it right, because I ain't stealing. I don't know this one.
Go. Oh,
Nope.
yeah, I forgot about
Shohei. Oh, Shohei.
So you
Yeah.
were wrong, right, Coach?
Yes, I was.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
said Alex Rodriguez. Okay. Let's take it light. NFL throwback 100.
NFL throwback 100. Who holds the record for the most career rushing yards in NFL history?
Emmitt Smith.
Steiner, would you like to steal?
No, because he's right.
I was about to say no way. Okay. I was about to say no way.
Steiner, you're down big here.
I know. Give me Olympic for 5. We're going out swinging.
Oh boy.
Olympic for 5.
Oh boy.
If this, listen, I haven't even seen the question yet. If this is freaking ping pong or some shit, I'm gonna kill you.
This is a gimme.
This
This is
Caribbean
so easy.
national shocked the world by debuting the first bobsledding team in 1988.
I'm pissed at how easy this is. I'm pissed at how easy you made the 500 pointer.
Oh, feel the rhythm, feel the ride.
Oh,
Get
Bryce,
on up,
you
it's
suck.
bobsled time.
this is like a 200. This is like a 200. Bro.
running.
This is not a 500.
Your answer is?
This is
Jamaica,
not
we got a bobsled
Jamaica.
team.
Good team, bro. That was not a 500.
I was
That was
banking
never-
on one of you guys not watching Cool Runnings. I'm going to be honest.
Whatever, bro.
Whatever. We know ball like that. You know what? Flip it. Swing for the fence. Modern sports 500.
Oh,
Modern
this is
Sports
big.
500.
This is big. Don't pull a Celtics and blow a lead.
Oh boy. I might pull a Celtics.
And this is hockey.
Ooh.
This is big.
Oh,
Steiner, you could come back and possibly win the game if you could steal this.
Yup.
oh, he knows it too.
I know this. And I wrote the question to be honest, but
I was gonna. Yeah, you got the answers. Of course, you know it.
NBA NHL players. It's definitely not Gretzky. He was like 1960s or something.
Are you crazy? He was like 80.
I don't know.
No
How
help.
far
No
is it?
help.
Hey, was that his guess? That was his guess. No, that was his guess.
No, that was not my
What?
guess. I said it's not. I said it's not.
Bryce, shut your
Wait.
mouth.
Var.
No
You know what?
We need to go
VAR.
to
I'm gonna
VAR.
be
Wait,
so
hold
real.
on.
I don't know any other NHL players.
Hold on. I'm getting a call from VAR. No goal. No goal. That wasn't a guess. It was a question. It wasn't a
Got
guess.
it. Thank
Okay.
God for VAR.
Okay, but I don't know any other NHL player. I don't watch NHL. Call me an NHL casual. This is a Hail Mary, Wayne Gretzky. I'm just gonna. I accept my fate. I accept my fate.
Coach, would you like to steal?
No, because I think he's right.
No way.
Incorrect. Alexander Ovechkin.
Really?
Okay, I didn't get it.
Yes.
You didn't get it.
I would not
It
have.
also says modern era, so 1990 to 2025.
Oh, I thought it said 2005. Wow.
Nope. No one gets points, and we're back to the drawing board.
That's a dub. I see that as a dub.
Coach, down 200.
Joe, if I take something other than Olympics for 4, are you going to take Olympics for 4?
Probably not because I don't know Olympics.
That's kind of what I'm banking on. Let's run the ball. NBA for 1.
Heck yeah. Safe option.
Jordan.
Correct.
I wonder who that. Scottie Pippen.
Steve Kerr.
Oh boy.
Joe, you're on the clock.
Ron Harper. Give me modern sports for 200.
Modern sports for 200.
Ooh, okay. First overall pick, Peyton Manning.
You are correct. Down by 300.
I remember that because Ryan Leaf is the pick right after him.
Olympic for 3.
Olympics for 3. This American
Tied up.
gymnast won 4
Oh.
gold medals at the 2016 Rio Olympics and became one of the most decorated gymnasts in history.
I think I know who this is.
I'm just going to talk it out. My gut says Simone Biles, but I don't know if she was. Yeah, Simone Biles.
Can I have the opportunity to steal? I thought it was Gabby Douglas.
I didn't. That was my concern. I didn't know if 2016 was too early for her. I was gonna like something else, but yeah.
Yeah.
Pressure's on you, dog.
Give me all-time leaders for 100.
All-time leaders.
I'm banking on something here. LeBron.
Correct.
Vomit.
Joe leading by 100. This is anyone's game.
Let's close it out. Olympics for 4.
Oh boy. I don't even know this one.
I'm between 2 countries.
Well, I hope you picked the other one.
I hope you picked the wrong one.
I think I might know, but I doubt it. Bryce, can I look this up, but like eliminate my opportunity to steal?
No.
Like, just text me on the side. I'm going with USA.
USA is correct.
Oh, I thought it was
And just
Russia.
like that.
That was my second. That was my second, Joe.
Darn it.
What was your options?
That was it. It was either I was between USA and like Russia/USSR.
Mm.
Game over, dog.
Well, let's finish it off.
Fine. Modern sports 100. Golden State Warriors. This is just
Joe,
insult to injury.
you I assume last question goes.
Cricket, give me Olympic. Yeah, give me that one. Michael Phelps.
No, this is Cooper Cox.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's the
You
end
even
of the
played the
Jeopardy
score.
board. The score is 3,100 to Coach Steiner, 3,000 to Joe. Joe got the Michael Phelps one because Steiner guessed Cooper Cox, and he's not even an Olympic swimmer.
Yet. Oh my God, my dog's just attacked me.
So
We're
that
celebrating over here.
concludes.
We're celebrating over here. We're celebrating over here.
That concludes the victory of the first annual Jeopardy game. What do you guys think?
I
was a
think
great
it was
game.
Awesome. I think it was it was good.
My hat is off to you, Mr. Steiner.
Bryce, you need to know the answers before you offer people the opportunity to steal.
Okay,
For
to be
real.
fair, I totally I should have printed out the answers or written it down, but I was like, I played by the way, I played pickleball with Miss B before I filmed this podcast. I was rushing home. I took a shower. I didn't even eat my dinner. My dinner's right here. I've been eating it while we've been talking.
Seen you eat it.
So I've been busy and I forgot to write down the answers. So I'm like, oh, I remember, but then there was like 2 or 3 that were like kind of foggy in my head. So that's on me. I'm not gonna lie. But I think it went pretty swell. Kick it back over
If I was
here.
against anybody else, I would have won.
I agree. Merrick never
Bryce,
would have
but-
competed in that.
Oh, I would have cooked Merrick. Merrick, if you're
would've
watching
been
this, I would have
done.
absolutely cooked you, bro.
Done.
Would have been.
You hear that? Merrick, he's calling you out next game day.
Merrick, I'm calling you out. I'm
Bring
calling
it.
you out, Merrick.
Bring
Get on the pod
Merrick.
and face me. Get on the pod and face me, bro.
You know what? I've been thinking. I've been in the mix. We should do a family feud with previous guests,
That'd be fire.
I like it.
or we
I
could
like
do the
that.
"Are
I
you
can be Steve
smarter?
Harvey. Yo,
Are you
I trust
smarter
Steve
than?
Harvey.
are
Good
you
answer.
smarter-
Good answer. Good answer. Good answer.
Good answer.
Or we could do "Are you smarter than a podcaster?" where it's me versus who the guests and Joe could be the host, and we'll switch the
God, I'm
script.
gonna be the host.
I think you two versus the guest would be smarter than a podcaster.
Let me be
Ooh.
Steve Harvey.
See, he's already
Shout
ready
out
for it.
Gracie.
So
I'm ready built for this.
So we're coming to the end of our podcast, but we always try to end up the podcast in a good note. So typically, I mean, I should have warned you, but we do quotes.
Shoot.
Is there a certain quote that you like or favor to more?
Me?
I've
Yeah,
Steve Harvey
Coach,
twice.
sorry.
Shout out,
Twice.
shout out Steve. Shout out Steve Harvey. Shit. Of sports or in life?
Just anything, man. Anything.
So sports. Sports. My favorite sports quote of all time was Red Auerbach, and is "What have you done for me lately?" Because I think, recency biases and if you're not producing recently, then what's the point? We got. I'm kind of losing my train of thought, but if you're not winning, you're losing. And so what have you done for me lately?
If you ain't first, you last. Ricky Bobby.
If you ain't first, you last. Exactly. And so, yeah, I mean, my favorite sports quote is what have you done for me lately? Because if it hasn't been lately, then what are we really talking about?
That's true.
I think that's a very, very, very good quote. What about life? Do you have a life quote or even a life truth that you would tell the fountain of youth?
The fountain of youth. Do you want a quote or do you want a statement?
Both. How about that?
Okay. So my favorite quote of all time is I'm not a religious person, but it happens to be a Bible verse. Is do nothing from rivalry or conceit, but in humility count others more significant than yourselves. And I think that's a powerful statement. In order for the world to be successful, in order for people to be happy, it takes a lot of you before me. We before me. That was our baseball mantra this year, and we went a long way. And I just count others more important than yourselves. Do stuff for other people. Help other people out. There's so much hate in the world right now. There's so much negativity in the world right now. There's so much war. Fucking tomorrow it could start, literally. And so, I just think we live in a very depressing world where it's like, I can only be better than you if I prove that you're worse than me. And I just don't think that's the way that we should really approach life. And so that quote, do nothing from rivalry or conceit, don't do things because I think I'm better than you. Don't do things because, I think I'm the shit and you're not. But in humility, be humble. Count others more significant than yourselves. Count others more important than yourselves. Do whatever you can to lift up your brothers and your sisters and your friends more than you lift up yourself.
That was very motivational. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Hey, man, that's why you bring me on.
You know what? I have a question. What's a movie you recommend people to watch? Because I have one.
Oh,
Bryce is gonna say Good Will Hunting.
I know, and you want to know why?
No. I came
Let's
up
know
with it
why.
myself.
The why is because I told him about it 2 years ago.
Oh, and he watched it.
It's listen. Good Will Hunt. Like Boston has a ton of great movies. The Departed, The Town. Like there's a whole bunch of like great Boston movies. But 100% my number one favorite Boston movie is Good Will Hunting. If you haven't seen it, man, Robin Williams puts in an Oscar worthy performance as a therapist. He helps Matt Damon's character. This was the story that Matt Damon and Ben Affleck wrote in order to become famous. They wrote the entire show. A guy that came from nothing. He works as a janitor at Harvard and he becomes something. It's a very, very powerful story. So yeah, if you want to watch a movie, watch Good Will Hunting. Tell him that Bryce sent you.
Yeah, that all-time favorite movie. I could sit in my room and watch it 100 times over and still enjoy it. Like, it is phenomenal. It teaches you so much about yourself, so much about others. It's life-changing, honestly. It's enough to make a grown man cry, and it changes you from a little boy to a grown-ass man in a snap of a finger. So check it out, please. Anyone who's watching this and haven't watched it already, I advise you to watch it. I also advise, if you're struggling with any type of anxiety, watch The Perks of Being a Wallflower. That's a good movie too.
Another good one.
So,
Another good one. Famous quote from Good Will Hunting is, Joe, how do you like them apples?
Oh my God, that's from Good Will Hunting.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Oh wow.
You know what? What's your favorite line from Good Will Hunting?
Probably that one.
Not the other one about your friend being
It's not
smart?
your fault. It's not your fault.
The other one in the bar, his friend.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You don't know the one-liner.
It's a PG podcast, Bryce.
Get out of here, bro. Get out of here. Okay, Joe. Now it's your turn. What's your quote?
You know what? I can't think of one, so I'm going to go with an oldie but a goodie that I've said like 40 times on this podcast. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
You see that every episode, bro.
I have to, bro. It's the plug.
Michael Scott.
Michael Scott. No,
it's Wayne Gretzky, Michael Scott.
Wayne Gretzky, Michael Scott. Yeah.
That is, yeah. I guess I'm on the hot seat. Ooh, I don't know a quote to mind.
Oh, you ready? I have one ready.
Okay.
Earthquakes lose.
Oh,
that's not true. They've done good this year.
But I've heard it so many times. I just assumed that was a quote.
Shout out Joseph Martinez for real.
Joseph. Earthquakes aren't that bad. Y'all hate them for real.
I am a hater.
Okay.
No, I'm technically a fan. But I don't watch MLS.
Bryce, what are we Googling famous quotes?
No. There's a quote from a movie that I want to say, but I can't remember it. The Perks of Being a Wallflower. We just talked about it. Where is it? Oh, okay. The main character, Charlie, asks their teacher, why do good people love bad people? And the teacher says to the student, we accept the love we think we deserve. And I think that's very important because people shouldn't settle for less. It's very important to stick true to yourself and you dictate what you deserve, and if you settle for less, you're going to get less. So make sure you always reach for the stars and reach what's best for you, because if you reach any lower, you're going to get burned, honestly. So that's a
Real.
good quote. We accept the love
Real.
we think we deserve.
I
Real.
like that. I like
Okay.
that.
I think that's the perfect time to end the podcast. Thank you everyone for listening, watching, viewing, subscribing. I'm sure everyone had a blast. I had a blast. Joe, do you have a blast?
I had a great time. Season 2, we're on the come up.
Yes. Coach?
Yeah, a long time viewer, first time contributor. This was a huge milestone in my life. I'm glad you guys gave me the opportunity to jump in before I started at Chowchilla. I've been watching from afar. I shouted you guys out in the yearbook in the back of the book. If you guys
You
check
did.
that,
You did.
I know you guys are well on your way to becoming national icons in the podcasting world. So I'm just honored to be here. And when you got you guys that never, other than like Merrick, who's kind of been like a co-host, you've never had a recurring guest?
No. Other than Merrick.
You got my contact info.
Boom.
If Joe ever wants a rematch, we'll make sure those Olympic
You're
questions
going down next time. I'm setting up Olympics.
I'll fix the questions. I'll make them a little bit harder. I'll be honest. The questions were kind of shitty at some points, but
no,
when you put pool runnings as 500, that was crazy.
Feel the rhythm. Feel the rise. Get on up. It's bobsled time.
Oh my god,
that should have been my quote. That should have been my quote. I missed that opportunity.
Me too.
It's okay. It's for the plot. We'll have a rematch. We'll be sure to bring Coach on and have a rematch and figure things out.
I'm ready.
Thank you, everyone, again. We're gonna end the podcast here. Peace.